I'll give it a shot. So, I get to the town. Wherever it is, I forgot. And lo and behold, we meet up with our chief boss man who just hires us on the spot. And then we gotta take another month-long trip to a new town. Alright, that's fine. We get to meet some of my buddies along the way. We make it to the City of Towers, I believe it's called. And then we get there. Turns out we don't got a place to sleep. So we gotta go to this rundown end of town. Find ourselves a room at the tavern. But my buddies hear about this plague that's going on. Decide to do something about it. Well, great. So now we're in the middle of this quarantine zone trying to find the source of this gosh awful plague that causes people to explode or something. And here I am wielding a pickaxe and a spear. And it turns out we're doing pretty great because we just barged in and killed a bunch of orcs, hoping that they were bad guys.
They were poisoning the grog. That was an excellent recap.
That was a perfect recap for Callus. Okay, so last episode you guys had arrived in the city of Halanon, where upon arrival you noticed that the mood was very off and it was very strange. You all noticed that surrounding posted all over town were propaganda. The propaganda saying, burn the witches, don't believe the nobility, trust the witch hunters, report to them. And as you guys saw this sort of creeping, sort of glowery mood as you guys moved forward and found yourselves in front of the foundry, which was your destination to meet with the Blackhearts to begin your training and signing on for the late spring period, you found that they were leaving. Then pretty much being picked up on sort of a whirlwind pace, you guys were signed on, given money, thrown on wagons, and then thrust across the countryside on a month-long journey to Dastow, in the middle of the Empire of Man. Once in Dastow, you did find out more that the stories that the captain, now commander, told you on the way about the betrayal and sort of the downtroddenness that the company finds himself in at the moment has spread all the way across, and now they have lost their sort of ancestral seat in the city with nowhere to go. So as you guys made your way through Dastow down to Copperkeep Village, to one of the commander's favorite taverns to visit, that is where he was hoping to find you guys room and board. But again, as you guys made your way closer to the southern wards of the city on the south side of the river, you started noticing not propaganda, but actual notices stating that there was a plague hitting a certain ward called the Lower Hearts. As you guys made it to the tavern, you guys heard someone calling out for help, almost on a pulpit, like soapbox, orating to numerous people whose voice was harsh. You guys approached him and met Ottokar Sepp, who was one of the members of the Council of the Lower Hearts, who informed you about the plague that has stricken the village and just how dire everything seemed there, and how help was few and far between, as the churches have called off any sort of help due to the clerics and acolytes that they did send in vanishing or being murdered. It was at this point that you guys returned back to the tavern called the Cross Candles, and there you spoke with Commander Unger and notified him that you would like to go and help, and this might be a good chance to spread the good name of the Blackhearts again through the city, to which he heartily agreed, to which he also asked you guys to deliver some supplies that he brought to an orphanage that was in the Lower Hearts. Taking it, you guys went into the southern ward. met a dwarf named Goldrick Proudbuckle, helped him with his cart. He was very thankful, thus using his merchant's pass to be able to let you guys into the ward without having any confrontation with the Suncloaks, which are the local city guard of Dastow. Inside, you guys got a full view of just how bad off, how sick, just how poor the district was, as there was just, people lying dead in the streets. Both half-orc and human begging for coin, begging for food as you guys made your way through. Corpse carts you guys saw being driven throughout, just loaded with people, until eventually you did find your way down to the Sunward Road Children's Home. There you met Rose, delivered the supplies, stayed the night, ate, kind of asked them about the district a little bit before in the morning you guys set off. Too bad Connor's not here, but due to Oriana's oozing charisma and absolute masterful tongue work, that sounded really bad, and I believe it was Toral's command spell, you guys were able to surpass the guards almost just as easy as a knife cutting through butter. Their wit wasn't compared. Yeah, their wit wasn't prepared for the sharpness of your guys' tongues. There, in the very quiet, inner quarantined area where the sickness is the worst, another corpse cart caught your eye before figures rushing into a building, and there you encountered a band of half-orcs. Upon coming in, battle was met. And I'm going to drop you guys back onto that map. The battle was quick, fierce. It was terribly one-sided as all of you picked them apart with absolute ease. And now you guys are left inside this sort of darkened granary, wondering what these people were doing inside. And that's where we're going to pick up.
I'm going to inspect the leader to see what he may have had orders or anything like that.
Okay.
I
Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
I would like to go look at, when we barged in here, we caught them doing something to the grain or the food supply, correct?
Ugh, terrible.
You didn't catch them doing anything, really. You guys went by the door, noticed that the door was unlocked, and sort of opened it up and listened inside, and you heard him giving orders. What you heard him say is, hold on, let me pull up my notes. I forgot that I had to refresh. You heard him say, "Hurry up, you lot. We need to finish this before the fire burns itself out. So mix the blood grain with the small vats. Don't spill none of it. Pour the vials in at the top. That's what the boss said. Make sure it doesn't touch your skin." And then as soon as you guys heard that part is when you guys kicked in the doors and they sort of charged out in surprise to meet you. Yes.
Okay, so based on what we heard then, and them attacking us immediately without any kind of parley, I would like to go check on the grain supply and see if I can tell what it was they were doing.
Okay. Jareth, as you investigate the body of the very broken and battered leader, you find that he's wearing very loose clothing, linen cloth, not very armored. But as you sort of pick up the limbs and move it around, you can see that the muscles are still finely taut. This is a person that was in very good shape. You do, however, see that he has a very heavy coin pouch. Okay. Toro, go ahead and give me an investigation check. You too, Talandris, as you sort of sort through the blood spatter.
While they're doing that,
Wait,
call
real quick, Mark. I just want to ask. I would like to pray to Pelor for guidance in investigating the cruelty and the things the bad activities that might be going on here.
But of course,
Okay, thanks. Go ahead, David.
I was just going to say, I want to call out to Jareth. Good friend, is it all clear? May I come inside?
Yes, it's all clear. My short, diminutive grandfather.
And then I creakily, with my staff, make my way up these steps and enter the room kind of hesitantly as I begin to also wander around and look around the room.
okay. Who's that from? Toro? So that's a 3 total. So what you do find is you see that there are open sacks of grain, some spilled onto the ground, and you see what seem to be bits of shattered glass on the ground as well. As you look at the papers and you're sort of pulling some apart, you can see that these are actually just sort of orders, like stock orders. Like you can see that, we need a delivery here to the Copper Wand. They ordered this much grain, this. Just that's all you're really finding is invoices. It's just like a bunch of invoices for grain deliveries throughout the lower hearts, and you can kind of tell that this is probably the main granary of the ward.
Mark, what's this thing in front of Balthazar here?
Oh, you can see that it's a small wood stove.
Oh, it's a stove. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, like a cast iron wood stove. And it's a very plain room that surrounds you. I mean, you can see every now and then some lanterns hanging on the wall that are unlit. Callus and Balthazar, as you walk into that side, you can see that there is a desk with an unlit candle. You see that there are some water barrels stored inside, as well as a couple cots for perhaps the workers that were working here to rest.
I can investigate this table if there are, in fact, some contents upon it.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Go ahead, look over the orcs and see if they've got like any insignias
Yeah.
to like who they were working.
Just go ahead and give me a general investigation.
Wait, I'm getting this house in the garden. Is that?
I got a 13 on mine there, Mark.
Searching through, you find a lot more invoices stored throughout here, as well as rosters and timesheets, kind of logging people's time and pay throughout the day, pretty much. Different donors, like the farms that the grains have been brought in from to be stored, stuff like that. Callus, you don't find any sort of insignia, but you can see that each one is wearing a certain brand on their left shoulder. And the brand is of a coiled chain with what looks to be jagged edges or spikes on the end.
That's a unfamiliar symbol to me.
Yeah. It's very crude. You can just barely make out that they are indeed chain links. As you also look through all the bodies as well of the half-orcs, you can see that they're all wearing really ruddy, really run-down, very worn leather armor. And each one does carry a coin pouch.
I am. My mother was a healer and taught me the art. However, I can only use the mundane at this moment, for the Lord has gifted me all the glory that he could in a day, until I prove myself a better warrior for him. That's my way of saying I could use a healer's kit and make a medicine check.
Toro, give me a perception check. What's your passive? Passive 13?
My passive is 15.
Okay. I'm just going to use your passive on this one. Because I wanted this... I should have used your passive on this one. Because I wanted this to be something you caught out of the corner of your eye. As Talandris approaches you, and you sort of turn to watch, out of the corner of your eye, you see from the grain store in the open hole what almost seems to be a greenish smoke that's rising out of the door, but dissipating very quickly as soon as it reaches the light outside.
I would like to sniff the air around where the smoke is and see if it smells like fire.
You smell the smoke? It has no
Yes.
odor. It's almost wisp-like. Like, have you seen an oil diffuser?
Yes, I have.
Yes, so like it sort of looks like that, where you can see it quite clearly and then it just dissipates into absolute nothingness, yet it doesn't have a smell. And it's just this very weird, greenish, wispy smoke.
Coming out of the stores? Where he's at? The grain?
Yes. The gloves that you pull off of him, Jareth, look like this. Should be in your handout.
Interesting.
While I cannot assist you, or I could assist you in bandaging your wounds, Talandris, do you see the smoke coming out of the hole there? I can only catch a wisp of it.
Talandris, as he points it out, you do catch, just coming out of the open portal, where the why can't I think? Where the hatch is slightly opened and some of the grain is pouring out. You're catching some of this green wispy smoke coming out of the hatch. Balthazar, overhearing this where you are, you sort of take a peek over at yours, and you do see that there is some of this light green wispy smoke also coming out of the hatch on your side, on the silo inside this building.
Perhaps we should open the hatch. I do. I have it written on my character sheet. I'll post it here for you.
You mean those ones that keep us from being poisoned?
Yes, it's the blood spice potion.
Hi. We're starting a new
It
round. I want
just gives us like a proficiency bonus, I thought, to our disease rolls or something like
Gives
that.
you advantage on your
Advantage,
constitution saves against bacterial and viral infections.
I want to approach Balthazar and show him the gloves I pulled off the leader to see if he recognizes anything. He seems like he's knowledgeable in the arcane. Perhaps he knows something of these. I swear that they did seem like they burn when we were fighting.
I take. Let's get back over for these. I take the gloves from Jareth and look them over. If you would need a certain roll from me, Mark.
What languages do you speak?
I speak Common, Gnomish, Undercommon, and Draconic.
Okay. Jareth, offhand, I know that you speak Dwarven. These runes on the gloves that you have, they look like they bear a Dwarvish root, but the lines are more jagged. The lines are more brutal.
Probably Orcish, just considering what they were speaking. I don't know them myself, but yeah.
Yeah, so you can tell that what's actually written on them are what seem to be Orcish runes. But you have really no idea what they say unless anybody else can translate those.
We should hold on to them in the
Yeah.
event that they could come in use at a later point. The markings on it are truly intriguing. Something I would like to give some further research to.
I'll hold on to them for now then, since I'm the pack mule of you.
Oh,
Toro,
thank
you drink the syrupy cinnamony potion, and it sort of kind of brings you back a little bit to your homeland, that taste. And you whip open the hatch, and more grain sort of spills out, and you can see that the grain is still somewhat wet with liquid, and just almost evaporating from the grain itself are these small green dots of liquid, giving off this sort of ominous green wisp of smoke.
I fear that the grain has been tainted, but I know not exactly with what. Is it possible to use my shield as like a scoop and scoop some of the grain out of the hatch, and then see if I can hold it open to a bag, perhaps, so it can be investigated at a later time, but I don't want to touch it.
Okay, it's more than possible. Largus, Callus, or Talandris helps.
Yeah, they can hold open the bag, and I'll just scoop like a handful of it in my shield, and then bag. And see, I think that perhaps we should bring this to an alchemist to determine what it is.
Hey, Mark, with my backstory, could I get a hint of what it might be?
And then I'll step away, letting Callus get a closer look.
This particular one, I will say no. This particular concoction.
I never got that far.
Because you're watching this liquid almost look like it's evaporating off of the kernels of grain that are being stored.
I mentioned to Talandris and Callus that I noticed some broken bottles near the grain sacks. Maybe there's a bottle lying around that wasn't broken, and we can find the source of this liquid. Maybe we should search the other vats if Balthazar saw the same smoke in another vat. We should probably check them all. Maybe there is some evidence here we're missing.
Agreed.
Talandris, you look and you also see what seem to be two large bags emptied on the ground, an open hatch, and what seems to be a shattered glass bottle at the base of this silo. Callus, you go over to that and you see the same exact thing.
Maybe someone more observant can look at the leader than me. I feel like I might have botched my search.
Jareth, what automatically catches you, and this is playing towards your background, is that they almost made it look like people were trying to steal grain from here, but were chased off in a rush.
Mark,
So-
I'll take a look inside the stove just in case they tried to burn some evidence.
Okay. You go ahead and you pop it open, and it has been long cold. It's long cold, and you look inside, and there are just ashes at the base. I'll just say you go ahead and you can just put your hand in there and dig through. There's no sort of burnt paper that you can pull out, clumps of anything. It all seems to be just creosote pine ash.
Okay.
Could I look and so it looks like the grain like hasn't been touched. There's no like discoloration or anything.
The grain doesn't look like it's been touched at all, which is odd because you guys did see and notice that there was that greenish liquid on it, but that greenish liquid it looks like it's about.
Well,
but it's only so long on this.
It's easy enough to look down, and it's just shards of glass. There's no sort of paper label or even like a burn mark on the glass on the outside at all. In fact, they look like old alcohol, like fifth bottles of just clear white glass.
Like bottles you would see at like a tavern.
Yes.
Perhaps we should go to a tavern around here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't check the bodies of the orcs.
I picked the leader, and he had gloves that were burning that I had Balthor look at, and he had a coin purse which I took for the group. I wanted to give some to Rose though for her giving us shelter. The actual orcs, I think you guys found a little bit of change in them too. But I will say that Jarrett's not a good investigator, so if you want to investigate closer, maybe that'd be better.
Okay. Go ahead and give me investigation.
Mark, is there anything on this table?
That's much better than my roll.
You can see that Jareth actually picked him pretty clean. You two look and sort of, upon hearing I think Callus shared it, that each one seems to bear a brand on their shoulder. You went ahead and took a peek and noticed that Thova too has a brand of what seems to be a coiled, jagged chain on his left shoulder. He does, however, has something that Jareth missed. You see that there is a earring on his ear, set in copper, what seems to be a shiny blue stone.
If Balthasar caught the blue stone upon this removal of the earring, being a deep gnome who digs gems for a living his entire youth, it would catch my eye, and I would come over to take a look at it to see if I could identify it for Talandris.
Yeah,
You look at it, and it's easy enough for you just with your background, and it is a pretty nice looking cut stone, but you know this to be blue azurite.
So I inform Talandris, that's a blue azurite stone.
I know, that is true. That is true. I don't know how many.
Is that expensive?
Yeah, wait, we're going, oh yeah.
Balthazar, you know the blue azurite is probably one of the more common
You want to do recap first?
gemstones, and while it is a precious gemstone, it is
No,
definitely
I
not
don't
one of the more
We're
expensive
not
ones.
really
You can probably estimate that maybe this earring costs about 10 gold just with the gem inside.
Oh, well, Talandris, that's quite a common blue stone. I value it at maybe 10 gold pieces.
What?
So, Callus, are you destroying those bags of grain on the sides of the?
Yes, I punched a hole in all the silos so the grain spills onto the floor.
That technically.
Oh, okay. So you're okay. Easy enough.
He's just like, nope, they're bad.
Well, there's still different
Okay.
And then he also scoops up a sample of the grain
The main building actually has.
just in case they don't get anything from that liquid.
Okay.
JR suggests we look for a tavern. Like, if these bottles came from somewhere, perhaps it was from there. Plus, a tavern would give an interesting place where you actually mix things in.
Ooh, good call.
Callus rolls his eyes at that.
I probably need healing too, but not until we actually do an official short rest.
Okay.
You hear that, guys? The elf's ready, so now we can go.
Maybe in this part of the world, elves think they dominate.
I can keep up, elf. Just don't slow me down.
What would you guys like to do?
I personally would like to see if this is a tavern around here. Perhaps this gang comes from such a place that these bottles would have come from.
Mark, can we look around this structure and see if we can find where they came from? Did they come in through the front door? Did they sneak in the back? That kind of thing.
You guys saw them coming through the front door, and as
Yeah,
you
we saw
guys
them dart
walk
in.
around this structure, you notice that there is no back door. There just seems to be one way in, one way out.
Okay, perfect. That answers my question then. I think that Jareth's idea is as sound as any I've heard. We can either return to the orphanage and talk to Rose and tell her what we found, or we can look for these bottles in a nearby tavern. That's fine.
I like your idea of. I like your idea, Toril, of talking to Rose. He might know of some tavern in these parts.
Jareth, as you step out of the door, you watch as an
Yay.
arrow embeds itself into the wall next to you, followed by a scream. As you look up, you actually see the body of an orc tumbling through the sky, or a half-orc tumbling through the sky, landing on the street, dead. You look up on the roof, and you see somebody sort of give you a salute, and then vanish.
Oh, apparently it rains half-orcs here. Someone just dispatched a half-orc for us and gave us a salute. Perhaps you have an ally in this city.
It seems we must have an ally or some kind of vigilante at the least. Was he dressed like a bat? No, I don't really say
I
that.
want to search the half-orc to see if he has the same kind of brand.
You look at the half-orc, and he does indeed have the same brand and what seems to be a broken short bow lying next to him.
Oh, then I definitely thank them for keeping him from shooting me.
You look up now, and you're really starting to look and get a feel that the skyline of these ramshackle buildings is almost kind of like a Brazilian favela kind of feel, to where there could be people running around up there that you just can't see from your vantage point here on the ground.
Anyone want to climb and take a look? I'm not exactly with my leg. I'm afraid I'm not exactly the best climber.
Yeah, I'm not the athletic type. I'll leave that to one of you guys with a big sword.
Oh, I'm an excellent climber. As most elves are want to do, climbing trees and such. But I mean, there might be stairs, which could also be useful. Can I take a look at the building that the people came from and see if it's like, is it an apartment building or a business, or is it something we can access?
So, to draw something, well, I guess I'm not going to draw something crude. Just think of houses stacked on houses stacked on houses. So think of like the Weasley house from Harry Potter, but just an entire row of Weasley houses where it looks like everything was just sort of, I'm just going to add this here.
Thrown together, basically.
Yes, so everything here looks like it's been thrown together, like perhaps like the basement of this home was flooding too much, so they decided just to, without the aid of OSHA regulations, decided to build higher up to get away from the flooding kind of thing.
So it's like the street that the Huxtables lived on. Yeah, I got it. A bunch of brownstones in a row.
Yeah, very rickety brownstones
but
that
made
look
of
like they've
wood.
been stacked
Yes.
on top of each other.
Oh, real quick, I just want to say something to the party because I didn't clarify this in the first session. Whenever you see Jareth walk, he walks with a noticeable limp. He doesn't seem like he's very dexterous, basically. He's not fast on his feet. I come over to you. I'm game to throw you up there. What is that? Wonder Woman? Say this again, Wonder Woman? Shield!
So the building rooftops, they're like 30 feet up.
I can't throw that
so
high.
So you want like a boost to kind of get up towards the second level and try to climb your way up that way?
Is there a fire escape of any kind?
Definitely no fire escapes.
Is there a lower ceiling? A lower building?
They are. You can see where some ceilings are only set at like 7 feet, and there's like small squat doors. And then above that is just more of these sort of stacked shanties that sort of build up towards the sky. Think of like every Neo-Tokyo post-apocalyptic like thing you've ever seen of like these ramshackle sort of shanties stacked on top of each other, and that's kind of what you're getting.
Check my link.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's like exactly what you guys are looking at.
So I point to the lower roof and I go, why don't you try over there?
Well, or I mean, the person who was up in the building was the one who half orc.
I think they might be gone by now. They saluted and left. I don't.
Yeah, they saluted and dashed off. If they know their way around, they're blocks away before we even begin climbing. But what you're asking is, did the orc also fell off the roof?
Yeah. No, actually, he killed the orc before he shot me. Basically, that's why the arrow missed me, and because the orc has a short bow.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is the orc was on top of the building, waiting for us to come out. He was going to take a shot at us. He took a shot and missed, and then some assassin killed the orc.
Yeah.
And the orc fell. Okay, so we're thinking that maybe there's other orcs in the windows, but I guess I would just glance around at the windows and see if I see anyone suspicious looking at us.
Okay, give me a perception check. You notice that there are a lot of closed, shuttered windows, as well as some actually boarded up from the outside. The more you look on second level sort of runways, you see doors that are painted with a white X. sort of boarded up.
Okay.
You don't catch anybody looking at you.
All right. So I look around at everybody and say, I don't know how much ground we'll gain from down here, but it doesn't appear that there are any other assassins about keeping an eye on us. Therefore, we should probably get out of the street while nobody's looking. We do seem to stand out and not blend in with the sickly people here.
Go back to the orphanage? Or are we just looking for the nearest tavern?
We could ask Rose, but the thing is, to go back to Rose, you have to go through those guards again.
Oh, yeah, those guys. That's no fun.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not fairly confident that we're going to find a tavern in the poor district, let alone the quarantine zone.
Every poor district has a tavern. That's how they forget about their woes.
Ooh.
May not be the best, but it can still be useful. Trust me, I grew up on the street.
Interesting tingle. Guys, I think we might be getting a storm soon. Feels like it. I can feel the nip in the air. The lightning curving through the clouds. I don't feel that. It just I feel like that might happen. You have a rain jacket.
Suggested we look for a nearby tavern. Perhaps there is one in this quarantine district. I mean, two of us drank our potions, so I only have, 4 hours of guaranteed help against getting sick. So I kind of want to use the next 4 hours here in the inner quarantine area while I have that liquid flowing through my system.
We can find someone. Perhaps we can ask them. I'm sure people in this area will know. Can I try to be perceptive to see if I can, as we walk around, see if I can see someone we can talk to?
Okay. So you guys see yourselves on the map here. Where are you guys walking? Are you guys going north? Are you guys continuing east? Or are you guys walking south towards the Great Outer Wall?
I think we should go east and bend up towards that central area.
I agree with Jareth that we should start from the center of the quarantine area and work out from there.
Okay. You guys begin to move east, and with Oriana sort of calling it out, rain does begin to fall. Sort of obscuring the vision for a short distance, as it's coming down quite heavy. And anybody close to this area knows that it is the spring season, so it is the time of rain here.
Does this water from the sky thing happen frequently here in the north? Because in the deserts where I live, it's pretty rare.
Depends on time of the year, my friend. But definitely during this time.
You know what's rare is rain inside of a cave.
That would indeed be rare. Is that something that happens the farther north you go, that the rain just permeates even the buildings and just rains indoors?
No, this is very strange to me. And
I am trying to actively look to see if I see anybody like looking out a window or like on the street or anything at all. Any sign of life.
Yeah, anybody who wants, go ahead and give me a perception check as you sort of move around, not making much of a pace, as the dirt you guys are walking up through this area is it's starting to get pretty muddy as you guys sort of make your way down as the rain is coming down more steadily. Yeah, Balthasar, you realize that you're not quite exactly dressed for these sudden sort of spring storms, and you're finding it quite hard and cold as you're sort of rubbing your arms together, pulling your cloak about you, feeling just sort of generally miserable.
Noticing this, my short companion's discomfort, I will try to raise my shield over him as we're walking.
I'm very thankful, Jared.
Callus, you sort of look about, kind of giving a cursory glare at everything you can kind of see, not really catching much. Talandris, as you sort of walk about now, as you guys make your way further towards into the center of this inner quarantine area, you don't know if it's the storm or not, but you're catching glimpses of what seem to be shadows along the rooftops.
I hear your warning, but I'm in the middle of a prayer, so I'm kind of mumbling to myself, kind of following at the rear of the party.
Okay.
I think, should I go ahead and drink my healing potion, guys, since we're low in health and might we get into an ambush?
It doesn't seem like a bad idea. You said that is it raining heavily, like it's obscuring our vision?
Just to a certain distance, which is
Okay.
why right now Talandris is only able to sort of catch shadows up on the rooftops. And that's just from the heavy rain coming down and also the mist that kind of forms from the droplets hitting the rooftops and breaking, sort of obscuring your vision from a distance.
Since I'm being warned there might be an ambush, and because I am actually still wounded from the previous fight, I am going to go ahead and drink the healing potion I bought from the nice dwarven lady.
Okay.
What is it again?
2d4 plus 2.
Oh.
And as you guys make it further, you guys actually see that here in the middle seems to be what looks like a church complex. And the closer you look, the name that greets you is the House of Ashes.
That sounds maybe promising.
Sorry, what? Let me, hold on a second. Blessed be Pelor's name, and somehow the sun will show itself eventually. And I look up and walk forward and say, what is it, a church? It looks like a church.
Ashes.
I see the side of the building for any kind of holy symbol or relics that might adorn the church.
Those of you proficient with religion.
No, not me.
I also am not trained in religion because only one religion matters, and that's mine.
Okay, then anyone who wants to try, go ahead and give me a religion check.
I'll make an attempt.
The light of Pelor shines brighter than all, and
today.
it dominates all other gods, and really the other gods should be praying to Pelor for guidance as well as us mortals.
You look, and upon this sort of church, what you do see is the symbol of scales, but holding the scales is a skeletal hand. This is drawing a blank for most of you, but Oriana, you've seen this before. This is something that kind of strikes fear into your heart. You know that the skeletal scale is the symbol of the death god Kelemvor, and also the symbol of the Knights of the Scale and the Witch Hunters.
Oh, can you write that name down again, by the way, of the death god?
That god's name is not in my list of gods that I know of, so this is new to me.
All right, then I'll sort of stop from my walking pace and tug on the nearest person to me and say, that's not a good place to go. That is the House of Witch Hunters and a dead god, or a god of the dead, Kelimvor.
You guys do remember something that pertains to the House of Ashes. This happened when you were speaking with Ottokar, though it was long ago. I don't know if anybody has it in their notes or not, but let me know if you just want me to tell you. So you know, just from your previous discussion with Ottokar, that the bodies inside the quarantine aren't allowed outside of the walls of the lower hearts, and that they were taken to the church. They're all being taken to the church called the House of Ashes for cremation.
That makes sense of death and judgment.
As the death toll is just something that they can't keep up with to sort of bury. And since it's not sanitary in a time of disease to sort of just make mass burials or keep bodies up, you know that, of course, the first thing they would do is to burn them. This, to you, Toril, is actually, this is something that you feel is very holy, as in the Pelorian worship. Cremation is sort of the way to go. And that the fact that people will still bury dead seems sort of barbaric to you.
It is better to become one with the flame and the light.
We were looking for a place to ask for assistance. There has to be someone here. If you want, I may go forward and inquire. If some of you are afraid that you may be faced with someone who might be a witch hunter, I don't think I give the appearance of a witch.
I don't fear anything, my friend, but I do often stumble over my own words since I'm not as familiar with the language as the rest of you are. Please feel free to introduce us.
You go ahead.
Let you guys go in.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. Oriana wants to take back. I understand why. So I'll step forward.
As Jeff steps forward, I peel away from the cover of his shield, not wanting to step forward, and walk steadily over to Toril and look up to him and ask, "Shield, please."
David is like the group cat. It's awesome.
We have Bigglesworth, but it doesn't take our luck away. That's
yeah.
fine.
Long live Bigglesworth.
You guys
Here,
walk
here.
up, and compared to the ramshackle buildings around you, this stone structure is very nicely kept. You see that they do have onto the side of it what seems to be places of burial and tombs. But for the most part, there's not a lot of tombs or burial sites there. That's a very small area. But you do, however, see that near the back of the building are some large smokestacks that come out, yet there is no smoke being poured forth from the stacks themselves. You guys walk up to these very large, ornately carved doors, each one depicting scenes of death. The act of almost dying and the act of dying. You see people tending wounded. You see people carrying the dead on like funeral biers, stuff like that. But the doors are closed. There are no outer lights on the outside.
Did Callus step up with us, or if not? If he didn't, I'd like to borrow the pitcher.
I have no reason to. I'm not stepping in there.
Then may I borrow? Yeah, okay. I took the picture of just in case I want to show it to the person who answers the door.
The what?
I took the picture you drew of the markings.
I made a sketch of the brand the half orcs had.
Oh, gotcha. That's right. Okay. And you guys approach the door, and
I will try to respectfully knock on the door.
So you sort of bang on the door, and you do hear.
Well, is there a lever? Is there a lever first or anything like that before I bang on the door? Like a bell ringer?
There are large knockers on the door.
Okay, I'll use the large knockers.
And you hear the goosh, goosh, goosh. And you sort of wait a while. And just kind of a little bit longer. And then a little bit longer. And then just as you're turning to leave, you hear a as the door sort of opens and there's some light that floods in from the inside. And kind of what greets you is the sort of sallow, sunken face of what seems to be a very tired old man, dressed in very plain black robes, sort of fading at the cuffs and the joints, eyes sort of sunken in, head cleanly shaven, bald, like no signs of facial hair or anything like that. Even the eyebrows are gone.
Well, I formally bow to him and say, the shining lady is radiance upon you, my friend, on this dreary day. We are but travelers in this town, looking to see if we may find what ails the city. And I was wondering if you may be available for some questions, as we do not know this area.
I think it is plain to see what ails this ward, for there is a plague.
Oh, yes, aye. We are actually searching to see if we can find out the cause of this plague.
And how may I help you?
First, we were actually caught some roguish figures going to the grain store nearby. It looked like they were trying to poison it, and they all had markings such as this. And I show it to them. Do you know what it may pertain to?
He takes a moment and he studies the paper, and he sort of nods. He closes his eyes and nods his head. He's like, these men belong to Braz.
Braz? Is that a person, a place? Or a group?
That is a person. One of the local contingent of half-orcs that have put together a gang, as they like to call themselves.
Ah, and where may we find them if we were interested in seeking them out?
That I'm not quite sure. I just know of them from the talk of people. As you can gather, I do not leave the House of Ashes much.
Oh, I totally understand. Is it I notice your smokestacks aren't going right now. Is it thankfully a quiet day today?
It's been a quiet couple weeks. We have not received any deliveries of bodies for cremation.
Didn't we? Sorry, this is a side. Didn't we see bodies going someplace, earlier?
Yeah, I thought we saw a cart of bodies and dead bodies in the streets, kind of thing. Is there someone who's responsible for collecting the bodies and bringing them to?
At first, they were being brought to us by the House Dellinger guards. It was a kindness that House Dellinger stepped in when all the other noble houses could not spare this district a thought. But after a while, there just seemed to be no dead coming this way. We are not sure if perhaps they found another way of laying the bodies to rest or not. We are the only church here that handles the dead, as that is our purview. There are smaller chapels and shrines of Lathander, Alminator, spread throughout, but I would say that we here have the honor, I guess some would say, of being the largest church in this district.
I want to do something just to make sure that there's nothing going on ill toward in this place. I don't have my full power yet, but I can at least do my little ping thing to see if there's anything fiendish or undead or anything in the area. Just out of curiosity, since bodies are vanishing.
Okay, so you're gonna... Does that spend one of your spell slots, or is that the hunter thing?
No, it's just the ability I get 4 times a day.
Okay.
Divine
Can
sense.
can you link it so I know the distance?
Within 60 feet is the description.
Oh, 60 feet? Okay. So you sort
Mark,
of
I
close
think. Wait, but total cover matters in that ability.
Yes.
I'm really just trying to ascertain this guy and anything in around him.
And you can see that Talandris is kind of carrying on a conversation room. Ask him a question really quick. And you close your eyes. You close your eyes and focus your thoughts. And it almost feels as if time stops for you as the raindrops sort of slowly tink, tink, tink as you expand your senses. You do not pick up any sort of fiendish undead, nor any celestial.
Okay. I just want to make sure this guy was like not something strange.
Oh, wait, no, actually, I'm sorry. You do pick up the slightest hints of a celestial-like presence.
Oh. From this building?
Not from the building, kind of from behind you.
Oh. Yes. I turn around. I turn around briefly, and then my eyes might go open wide a little bit for a second, then I turn back around again.
Give me a second. Say that again? If I had an item from another person, would I be able to sense if that person was still living? Are you asking about divination? It is possible. The connection would have to be strong, since I have no knowledge of this person. Please, where are my manners? Come in from the rain. And he sort of opens the door wider, and you look inside, and it is a very septically clean black marble interior with torch lights going down a long hallway, bare of any sort of accoutrement. And as you kind of look, you're kind of getting the idea that maybe the doors to this place are the most decorated thing inside. Jareth, as you sort of peek around your shoulder, you do pick up the faintest hint of fiend, which is sort of like the strongest sense that you're picking up, but you are picking up very, very slight hints of a celestial signature.
Just in this area, basically. Okay. But, like, in our party, or just like just in the general area? Ah, okay. I keep it to myself.
Okay. He is waving you guys inside if you wish to go inside.
Can I?
I'll go in. I'd like to get out of the rain, but if Oriana's going to stay outside, maybe somebody should stay with her.
I'll keep her safe.
Yeah, I don't really feel comfortable going in there. I'll wait outside the door just and kind of listen in to, if it sounds like something goes bad, I can bust in. But
Is there any way I can sense any kind of malice in his invitation, just to make sure does it sound like me on the up and up?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an insight check.
Please come inside.
Excellent.
He is very welcome, very warm. It looks like he's actually glad for the company.
Oh, I will graciously accept then.
I can try. Please come inside. I shall make us some tea. You guys walk through the corridors of this place. Footsteps echoing. Sound of the rain muted, now inside. And he takes you to a somewhat comfortable seating area. Very plain, ordinary table, very plain, ordinary chairs. The place is very harsh, just in the aesthetic. Like, it doesn't look like a comfortable place that you would want to spend time in, but out of the rain, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's always fun in a mortuary.
That's pretty much the feel you guys are getting.
Hopefully India's not playing on the big speakers or anything like that.
After a while, he comes back. He does bring cups and tea for everybody. And he takes the necklace from you. And I need to see if his build can actually do this.
I take in graciously for the tea.
He would actually look to you and he would say, as part of the ritual, there is a cost. Would you be willing to pay the church?
What would you feel would be a worthy price for this?
It would be about 25.
25 gold? Sure, certainly. And I'll give him 25 of the gold we got from the. I'll give him some of the money we got. I'll give him 2 platinum pieces and 5 gold pieces that we got from the orc. That's 25,
Holy cow!
right?
What are we paying this small fortune for?
It was ill-gotten money from those orcs. Maybe it'd be better to go to this church.
I was looking at the wrong spell. It might actually be more.
Well, let me know before I deduct it.
Because what you're asking for is a scrying.
What necklace are you having to scry? Actually, I didn't miss that. Which necklace is this? What we didn't get from this thing? Oh, I thought it was from the investigation for our investigation. This is not something we got from. I would think we'd want to scry on that ring that we got, or something else.
This is the big spell.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I thought this was for the actual investigation of the city. I didn't know it was something. This is the money we get for the party.
Okay, so you see him come back after dropping the tea off, and he walks forth with a large 1 foot radius silvered mirror. With it, you see that he has what seems to be an ewer of holy water that he brought with him, and he outstretches his hands and he asks for the necklace.
No, I'll help donate. I was gonna pay for
We're paying for a divination. Is that what we're paying for? Like a fortune teller?
He's paying for a scrying.
Okay. Like looking somewhere that we are not at.
Yes.
Okay. Like an Eye of Palantir. That's awesome. Let's see if Sauron can look at us at the same time.
I'll offer 5 gold to help my friend, my party member out. So I'll give 5 gold to the Dester.
I am interested in this arcane ritual, but I don't want to contribute to the cost of the ritual. So
You know that this is not just an arcane ritual, that this is something that clerics, much like yourself, can do as well. So this is coming from this priest of Kellenvor. This is more of a divine scrying than it would be arcane.
Oh, okay. So this is not a wizard's thing. I'm looking around. That's what I was trying to get a feeling for. Like, am I entering a Catholic church that does cremations, kind of thing? So, perhaps then the blessings of Pelor would be with you. I'll go ahead and donate 5 gold as well to the cost of the divination.
Ten minutes goes as he is incanting, speaking out prayers of calling, and you're watching now as the mirror in front of him begins to thrum and hum. And near the end of it, he begins to pour the holy water into the mirror, causing it to ripple like water. And as he looks inside, he begins to describe what he's seeing. Almost focused on a point, he starts describing you, Talandris. How you were standing. Your very facial, like describing every facial movement of shock, question. As he's describing to you everything that you are doing right now at the exact same time. Give me a perception check.
From everybody watching the ritual?
I think just the person that's getting scried can actually see this.
Oh, okay.
But I'll say, yeah, you know what? I'll say everybody go ahead. Just for funsies. Oh, man.
We're all terrible.
Get them all out now, guys.
Balthazar, you're in here? I really want to do the ring too, and you have the ring, don't you?
Yeah, I came in following Terrell to get out of the rain. And I do have the ring, yeah.
Balthazar, you're looking and listening, and then you look up and you see actually floating, somewhat transparently, almost focusing on Talandris, what seems to be this sort of silverish, smoky-like orb, before eventually it just dissipates as the priest breaks his concentration on the spell and sort of questioningly looks to you, Talandris, and hands you your necklace. It appears
Sorry, go ahead.
that whoever gave you this necklace meant to use it to keep a close eye on you, as it is directly tied to your life force. Does this make sense to you? Kind of looks at you questioningly.
Do you have the strength to do this one more time for an item we found on the streets here? And it was actually quite priceless considering the location.
I can try again if you have the patience.
I do. You all have. I wanted to see if we could look at the ring for us.
Would you like to make another donation?
Yes, I'll donate this time fully from me. Just player question. Platinum is 10 gold, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give him 2 platinum and 5 gold.
Okay, so as you give him the money, he puts it inside an alms box and thanks you. You guys pull out the box and you say the opening word. The lettering disappears, the line forms, and you open it, revealing the ring. He takes it and he begins to incant his spell. After 10 minutes, he pours the water in. And it begins to ripple, pulse with light. And then you see him immediately drop the ring and rush away from the mirror on the back of his heels, holding onto his chest as he slams into the back wall, sort of bracing himself, eyes wide with fright, breathing heavily.
What did you see? Is there something evil in this ring? Are you okay?
Put that ring away. That is not welcome here.
Okay, I hand the ring back to Balthazar.
I put it back in my pouch.
How did you come by this?
We found it clutched in a dead man's hands who died from the plague. It was sealed in that box.
Something wants it. Something wants it back.
And I'm guessing this something is not a good thing.
I must ask you all to leave, please. Please. I must ask you all to leave. And he begins to sort of usher you guys out now.
I profusely apologize, and yes, I will leave.
Beware the night, is all he says as he closes the door as you guys are back out into the rain.
And then this ring is something important. But it sounds like whatever wants it might come at night to claim it.
Oriana, you watch as your group gets
Thrown
ushered
out of
out
the church.
pretty quickly. Almost as if they're kind of being thrown out of the church, but quite politely, with just the most ominous of warnings at the very end before the door closes.
Oh, do I hear that warning?
Oh, yeah.
So as they get pushed out this door, Kals is just like, so I take it went well?
Well, we found out some things. For one thing, he hasn't burned bodies for 2 weeks, yet we've seen bodies being carted around, so I'm curious to know where they're going. This ring we found apparently is wanted by some dark entity that was enough to scare a servant of the death god, which caused him to kick us out of his church. And he said to beware the night and to keep it locked up still. So that's that. And the leader, the half-orcs we ran into are led by someone named Braz, who leads a half-orc gang in this area somewhere.
Kal sniggers when you say bras.
Yes, yeah. Probably not very intellectual type.
I would think he'd have a different name for them, but again, I don't know the language around here very much. So Braz Taserface.
I might laugh when we meet him.
So, any useful
His name
information
is
from
Bros.
the priest?
That's basically the information we found. Actually, I don't think it is actually pretty useful. What was said and unsaid. I mean, like as I said, there's been bodies being carted around, but they're not going to the place where they should be cremated, which means, are they being used for something else?
The plot thickens.
I agree. We should probably follow it. I didn't get a chance to ask about a tavern, but a man like that might not have known about a tavern anyway.
Standing out in the rain now. What would you guys like?
Well, I guess we head to a tavern?
I would like to go continue east and then possibly north.
The only tavern that you guys know of at the moment was the first one you guys passed when you entered the old market, and that was the Copper Wand. But that's outside of the quarantine zone, and that's the only one you guys really saw.
I would want to go. I think he's got a good idea to go over here, like towards the wall, because that would be like the cheaper areas.
Well, I want to look for any evidence of this half-orc gang in this town. That's seems to be, causing some trouble, and perhaps is the reason why the bodies aren't making it to the church to be appropriately met with their maker. So, I think we should keep looking for this Braz guy.
Yeah, he could possibly hold information on what's being done with the bodies.
And perhaps we could stay our sword arm slightly and maybe just question him before we drive a blade through his gullet and make it so that he's dead.
No, I agree. I regret doing that to the last one.
That's okay. The fury of battle takes a hold of us all, myself included. But now we seek answers more than blood. So let's try to get some.
Okay, so you guys continue east.
I tell Balthazar, keep an eye on that ring. It sounds like it may be a magnet for something dark.
Kels would like to.
When-
Yeah, Kels is going to be looking down the streets. He wants to see. He wants to just see if there's any suspicious movement around.
Okay, those of you taking a look out, sounds like specifically for enemies. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Okay, that would be 2.
And I believe it was Toril who said he was keeping a lookout for signs of this Braz gang. So go ahead and give me a perception check.
Yes, I'm looking specifically for maybe faces in windows, half-orcs lurking around corners that might have a...
Or gang insignias on walls.
Yeah, that kind of...
Tagging! They're tagging the buildings.
Ooh, 6 total.
This is fucking awesome tonight.
I thought it rolled high, though. Yay.
Jareth, you're scanning the rooftops with Talandris. Every now and then you do catch what seems to be a brief flitter of shadow that's almost imperceptible, with the sort of rising mist coming off of the rain-battered rooftops. Talandris you catches as well. Callus, you're looking as Jareth and Talandris are sort of scanning the rooftops, and you begin to scan the sort of immediate area up and down the actual alleyways and roadways. Not catching much.
We are being followed, but it may not be an enemy. It may be the one who helped us. I don't know. I just see shadows on the rooftops.
Balthazar, you're also sort of looking about, trying to find, but again, you're not sort of properly used to this sort of weather due to Toril. So as you're fighting the water that's kind of coming down over your eyes, wiping it away and trying to keep your vision from going blurry from just the constant stream of water brushing your hair aside as it gets washed over, fighting to keep your hoods up. as this sort of torrent of rain is kind of moving down through this area. Along this area, you do see that there are bodies sort of laid up against the walls. Some look like they are alive, seeking some sort of cover from the rain, while others are clearly sort of just kind of face down in the mud.
I'll approach one of the ones who's alive. I might want to ask them some questions, maybe offer some aid.
You walk up, and you actually see that it is a woman, an elderly woman, skin clinging onto bones, sallowed, sucked-in cheeks, sucked-in eyes, sort of raggedy hair that almost seems to be coming out in clumps as she's sort of holding her hands out to you as you approach.
My lady, I give her a bow. I was wondering, do you happen to know anything about a gang of half-orcs that are around here? And also, I hope we can do some assistance to you in exchange.
I know of these orcs, but could you take me to the church? I don't want to die in the street like a dog.
Are you sick?
My time is coming to an end. And you look, and you can actually see that on her neck, as you kind of get a closer look, you see like where the nodes are. You see the buboes forming.
I actually want to test something. This is actually a perfect time to test. I'm going to attempt to cure her.
Okay.
I'm going to expend the 5 hit dice I have, lay on hands, and see if I can cure this plague.
Okay.
So I raise my hand, one hand up to the air to call upon the shiny lady, and then as I'm doing that, I touch her with my other hand.
You cast it, and you watch as the buboes recede back into the flesh, but coming out of the flesh, what looks to be greenish, wispy smoke.
It's the same smoke we saw.
That seems to be emitting from the pores of this woman's body. And you can see her breath as she's almost taken by like cold water, as the feeling of her body is beginning to kind of come back to her now. Sort of looked relieved, but you can still see that she's in quite a lot of pain.
I will mention to the party that I just saw the same smoke we saw, the hazy smoke we saw from the grain come out of her when I healed her. The smoke goes away, right? It's basically out of her, basically. Okay.
Ma'am, can you tell us what it is that you ate last?
Not letting go of Jareth's hands as she is just clinging to it with all she has. You don't know if it's tears or just the raindrops coming down off of her face as she looks to you, Toril. She's fighting towards listening past your accent, and then she answers back. We've had nothing but bread. Just bread. There have not been many deliveries to the ward since the plague had started.
Tainted bread.
Can you tell us from where this bread comes?
We used to get bread from the granaries in the local shops before some of them tragically passed due to sickness. But then when House Dellinger arrived, they were bringing in carts of bread to hand out.
Well, this is more to the group than to the lady, but is House Dellinger in the inner quarantine area?
No, they're just in charge of the area. They're not in that.
You would remember Ottokar saying when you there's that echo.
Yeah, I thought he was a member of that house.
He's a member of the council. That's sort of he's a member of the Commerce Council that runs through here. So he's kind of like the sub nobility. But he told you guys that House Dellinger actually left the district long ago, and actually built a new manor house up in the lower castle district, kind of where the rest of the blue bloods of the city kind of live. And they were once like here and ran it, and this was like their word given to them by the king until they kind of just set up a council and just kind of pieced out. And the Sunward Road Children's Home is actually the old House Dellinger Manor House.
And is of their noble blood too?
Say that again.
Is Rose a member of the House Dellinger family?
I believe she told you. Well, actually, you don't know. And what I believe she told you when you spoke to her was that she, when you're like, "Why are you here? Like, why would you be here in such a place of squalor?" And she's like, "Well, this is my home. This is where I grew up. I'm from here." But I think that's all the relationship.
Well, I have no problem escorting the elderly woman and maybe others to the church, but I would ask her then to tell us what was she was going to tell us something about the works that we're seeking.
Yeah, well, first I asked if there's any food handy. I don't want her to die. I just gave her blessings. Does anyone have any food this woman may eat?
Well, the church is 2 blocks away.
The church is gonna is for cremating, not for. She wanted her to die. I'm basically trying to give her hope to live.
There is an infirmary that is being set up, but it is outside of the quarantine zone. It's located and set up in the Chamber of Commerce north of Old Market. If you do not wish to take me to the House of Ashes, I would most like to go there in a second.
I'm fine with that. I don't think it's your time to die.
Callus will give her his 7 silver pieces. He goes, "Go get yourself a warm meal."
She looks at you with bright eyes as you just gave her a fortune that she has probably not seen all at one time in her entire lifetime. No carbs. Atkins diet for you.
No, I'm just saying we basically saw. I tell her we basically saw members of this gang we're trying to find go into a grain house and poison it with green mist similar to yours that came out of you when I just healed you. So, as such, do you know where we might find this gang? They may be directly responsible for what's happening, or know who's responsible.
They move around through this inner quarters. The areas here, the southeast of the ward, are where most of the abandoned warehouses and homes are.
Right there?
You've but pretty much anywhere along this area where there could be an abandoned, like a large abandoned building, anything like that would be a good place.
So we would need to go south.
I've never crossed paths with them for a reason. But you do see them about, though lately the streets are quite bare. The buildings they take up in are branded. They carve in what seems to be the likeness of a chain.
Okay. Well, what I'd like to do then, I would like to escort her to the. Can we escort her back at least to the Temple of Ashes? Just not to die. I tell her, please. With this money and your cure, you should be able to have a new attempt at life. We can take you here so you'll be safe, and then we maybe can come by and collect you after we're done with the gang. It's not safe to go with us.
It's easy enough for you guys to kind of backtrack. Jareth, you would notice that she has no strength to stand.
I'll carry her. I'll give my shield to Balthazar. He can keep it over his head. I'll lift her up.
She weighs nothing. Like, it's actually kind of incredible how light this human being is in your hands, but you notice that it's almost like carrying Dobby, I guess, like would be the sort of description. Like just poor ratty clothing and just super thin arms and legs. You guys make it back to the House of Ashes, knock on the door, wait a while, and you see the same face of the priest sort of open up and, oh my god, you're back.
We're just here to bring a lady that I have cured of the plague. I wish to give her, if you have any kind of comfort you can offer her while we go find the gang members. We know where they may dwell now. And I throw him a gold piece and say, please give her every comfort she may need in life. And we will come get her and take her.
You see him like call out down the hallway as a younger priest comes with the same, no facial hair, no head hair, all shaved off, wearing the same plain clothes, as they both kind of firemen carry her into, as he sort of gives a quick look along the outside before closing the door. Still quite frightened.
I gave him a gold piece to take care of her, so I'll take that off my sheet.
And now you guys are back outside the House of Ashes, standing in the rain. What would you guys like to do?
They've got a lot of information. I mean, the curing her showed the same effect as the stuff coming off the grain. And now we know where the half-orcs are at. They're down here. So let's go.
Well, let's go.
I am very impressed by Jareth's sleuthing ability in this quest, the quest we're on, and I'm kind of taking note of the paladin's leadership qualities.
I am impressed by Jareth's incredibly large heart. He is a genuinely good guy.
It's such a large heart that it causes him to limp when he walks.
Yeah.
No, I was saying this thing with Kenny and David where basically I view my knee and the damage that was done to it during my first fight that it's the blessing from the Shining Lady because it gave me my life. So if it starts to hurt, I feel it's the Shining Lady telling me that judgment or something is needed.
I mean, honestly, now just picture it like a paladin carrying a sickly old woman to a church in the rain. Like that's like right on. Okay.
I call out to Jareth as I can no longer carry his shield over my own head.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
It's crushing me.
Thank you for holding him, good friend.
Yeah, I mean, Balthazar's arms are shaking. Like he's trying to keep this thing over his head, and it's like squishing his neck. It's like he can't lift it, and it's just sort of pushing his head down into his shoulders. Like it's, yeah. Okay, you guys begin to move south now. Still scanning the rooftops. You guys do catch every now and then the shadows that have been pointed out by Talundris and the others that have been watching. But again, you still see the same sort of squalor in the streets. You see that there are some dead bodies kind of just awash in the gutters or kind of down in alleyways. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
All of us?
Yeah, go ahead. Waiting for Toril to come through here.
12 is not bad for -1.
Boom, there it is. There's the Toril roll.
Finally, my ones are out of my system now.
Pretty much everybody except Balthazar, who's just struggling with the reins still.
And the exertion from carrying my shield.
You guys come up on what seems to be an old abandoned tavern.
It's a tavern!
Along the outside, as you walk up closer, you see sort of scratched onto the door a very crude representation of the coiled chain.
Shall we see if they want to give us a drink?
You look, all the windows are boarded up from the outside. The doors are closed. It's a dark interior.
It's a tavern. Don't you typically just enter a tavern when you come upon one, or is the custom
I'm
different
just
here
gonna-
on this land?
I
I'm just
typically
gonna
don't go.
walk in.
I typically don't go to cat taverns with half orc gang members, but why not?
I'm just gonna walk in the door. Old West style.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
kind of
swing.
want to like the saloon little flippy doors. I just kind of want to walk through.
The entire all gang members silhouetted in the light.
Hey, before we go in though, just to be on the safe side, since I took my healing powers, and also because we're gonna fight guys who apparently have plague-causing gas, I'm gonna drink my last vial of that sweet potion, whatever.
Oh
else.
yeah, I should probably do that as well.
I'll follow your lead. I'm
I
chugging
don't know.
that.
Has it been more than 4 hours since we drank?
No, I
Since
drank
we were
mine
at the
when we
green-
first into the city. Mine's already worn off.
Oh, because I have drank mine at the granary when we were at number 6 there.
Yeah,
but I only have.
You've got about another hour to go.
Okay, then I'm gonna trust that because
Yeah, I'm gonna drink mine.
I'm drinking my blood.
I don't have any more.
Yeah, I drank my last one. Just because we're gonna fight the gang members that use this plague, I don't want to be in the middle of it.
I drink it and then I smash the vial against the wall. Let's do this.
You guys, as you closer you get to the door, you look up top. There is a sign broken. The only thing left under the wooden sign seems to be what looks like a depiction of a hammer, but no name visible. And you guys walk up, kind of push open the doors, which are still slightly ajar. Sort of creak slowly. There's no light inside.
I'm blind.
You look all over, those of you that can see. You see empty tables, empty bottles, lots of broken bottles on the ground, tipped over chairs, broken chairs, scraps of cloth, what look like blankets that were used for sleeping on the ground. But this place is empty.
Okay, so after entering like some cowboys in a western, we see that the place is empty. I would like to search the place because the lady. Why would that little old lady lie to us? There's got to be a trapdoor or something. After she just got healed by our paladin's faith, I feel.
Now, what she told you is that they like to use the abandoned warehouses. And buildings,
Yeah,
and that they move around.
We just came here because it's a tavern, and that's where the bottles came from. So
And this was just
Okay,
kind
so-
of the first immediate place that you saw. You're more than welcome to search.
I would like to search and see if I can find bottles that match the bottles that had the
Oh,
stuff.
that's easy. You see a lot of clear glass bottles just sort of laid onto their side, stoppered corks. Some look like they do still have some bits of brown liquid left inside. That broken bottles and also just empty bottles are just rampant through this place. Just think of every
and some make light because
every
I can't
depiction
see.
of like a homeless plate, like a homeless building getting like raided on like a freaking reality TV show, and that's kind of what you're looking at, like garbage, refuse.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to search floors for possibly a trap door of some kind that might lead into a basement.
Okay.
Before
So
that,
I think I would take my shield or something and or my sword maybe, and kind of tap the floor, see if I can hear a hollow area kind of thing. I guess that's what I would be doing to search this out.
You are tapping the floor, and you are hearing what seems to be hollow underneath, giving you the idea that there is maybe a basement.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just look around for an entrance to this basement.
Can I help him look around? Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna help too. I mean, that is light.
Okay, so either all of you guys can roll, or you guys can give somebody advantage.
I'll give. Who's good at investigating here, or not
Mhm.
me?
I'm okay at investigating.
I'm good at investigating. I have a high intelligence.
Yeah, ask the wizard to look for clues, and he's
Yeah, I'll
close to
I'll
the
help.
ground, so he should,
I'll walk
they
with-
should be easier for him to see.
Yeah, since Balthazar has the light anyway, I'll follow around with him and also try to help him look.
Look, David, I get to make short jokes about somebody that's not me.
I did that on purpose.
I love you, man.
Now,
Mark, so you want investigation with advantage?
go ahead and give me investigation with advantage because you have a light out, which is perfect. Otherwise, you would have had disadvantage. So with the 25, you start searching around and you make your way back behind what seems to be the bar area, and you do see that there is a trapdoor underneath what seems to be an old, ratty, like woolen blanket that's just been kind of like haphazardly put over it. You pull over the blanket, you look, and you see that there's a little drawstring to pull up, and you go ahead and pull it up, and there's a ladder that descends down into a basement area.
I ask Balthazar if he could maybe light my sword up or something, and I'll go down first. I don't want the elderly wizard to go down first.
Yes, I can do that. I use my light cantrip and illuminate his sword.
And I will slowly creep down, cautiously down the ladder.
Okay. You
Oh,
head
my
on
friend,
down.
there's probably no need to be quiet since the light from your sword travels ahead of us.
No, I mean,
But-
when I say cautiously, I mean like in case someone attacks me.
Oh, gotcha. Then taking your hint, I will go ahead and draw my shield and put my hand on my sword hilt and follow behind.
Okay, so I assume your shield is not on you, correct? Jareth, since you're holding your sword out with the light and kind of
No.
walking down a set of ladders.
Going down the ladder, going down the ladder, I'll probably have to be cautious. I'll probably have to put the shield on my back, and I'll take it out when I get to the bottom.
Okay. You're making your way down.
I'll just hold the sword two hands. Never mind. Yeah.
You're making your way down, your head breaks the level of the floor. You shine your sword inside. The immediate thing that catches you is the smell of garbage and what's like rotting food. You begin to look about and you see that there are broken casks of what you can only imagine was ale at one point against one wall. All of them seem to be punctured. All of them look dry. Still more broken bottles being stored. In the corner just seems to be a kind of large refuse pile in this sort of stone-walled, what almost seems to be probably a root cellar that they would keep food in at one point for this place.
But no, like, mixing things or anything like that. Just refuse and broken bottles.
Yes. That's what you see.
What are the walls made out of? Stone or?
The walls here are made out of stone, and you can actually feel the temperature difference as you move down the ladder below the level of the floor.
I want to knock around on the walls to see if I hear anything hollowish or anything that might be in. No.
Okay, go ahead.
Mark,
and
I
roll.
also want to descend into the basement area. I have dark vision, so it doesn't matter if I stay close to the light. But what I want to look for is evidence of alchemy supplies. Are they mixing things down here? Are they boiling kettles of potion or whatnot, like to make the stuff that we found in the bottles?
Okay. For you, this is easy enough. You look about, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of distillation equipment. You don't see anything that would, like any sort of burners or any sort of fire areas. You don't see any kind of large vats or anything like that you would think that they would try to brew and concoct this stuff with. Really, it just looks like an old, abandoned, and looted basement of a tavern. Anything that's been worth value has either been consumed or taken, and any of the food that was left that wasn't eaten is just kind of rotting and falling to the floor from where it hung.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just kind of picking through the room, looking at that kind of stuff while other people are doing their thing.
Go ahead and give me an investigation, Jareth, as you're looking for.
What do you want me to make as far as me banging on the walls, looking for anything?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
What are the walls made of?
Stone.
Could I assist Jareth in looking for hidden areas?
Absolutely.
So that me advantage then?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sweet, sweet advantage. Going through the walls, and you're sort of using the hilt of your sword, listening in. Eventually, you run into a large paver stone on the wall, and clunk, clunk. It does sound hollow behind. This is probably a 1 foot by 1 foot stone block. What it looks like on the wall.
You said it's loose?
It sounds hollow behind it.
In a way to pry it out? Or push on it? Or
With your investigation check, yes. Callus, you're watching now as Jareth begins to kind of run his hands along the outside seams. And the further you get onto the right side of the stone, some dirt falls away, revealing what seems to be a notch. And you manage to get your fingers in behind that notch, and you begin to pull out this panel of stone, revealing a hollow behind it.
shine my light in to see if I see anything in there.
Inside,
It's a wall safe.
inside you find what seem to be a couple dark brown bottles, corked, laid kind of in the way that you would store wine on a wine rack, sort of tilted down so the liquid touches the cork. These bottles are very old and very covered in dust. You look and you see that there are a couple coin purses, and also what seems to be a small silver jewelry box.
Okay. I will probably. Balthazar, did you come down here or not? I don't know. He didn't probably come down here. I'm gonna take the vials to give to Balthazar since he seems to be the one most interested in. Or
Did you find something, Jared?
Yeah, I mentioned.
Yeah,
I mentioned I found 2 vials, some coin
2
purse,
bottles.
and 2 bottles.
These are like two dark brown bottles corked at the top.
Yeah, I followed down.
I'll hand out the bottles to either Toril or Balthazar. See if they
Well,
can
I'll let
recognize
Calzamar
them.
take him. He's more knowledgeable probably than I am about this kind of stuff. So I would very curiously watch everything.
Callus and Balthazar, as you take the bottles, you sort of turn them around and you see that these do have labels. And as you wipe out sort of the dust and clear it off, you see sort of in faded gold leaf printed on the front, it says Rovello Distillery.
Oh, old wine bottles. Man.
I don't know if this brings back any memories for the Tuesday group.
I'll also show the group the coin purse and the silver jewelry box.
So inside those coin purses, you notice that one is smaller than the other. You open up the smaller one. Inside that small coin purse is 10 platinum coins.
Ah, nice.
You look at the other coin purse, and you have 25 of these bluish silver coins.
Is it Electrum or something?
You also said there was a jewelry box or something? Something else in there?
There is a small silver jewelry box, probably like 4 inches by 4 inches. Pretty ornate. Good make.
I'll hand that to Callus. Out of the hole.
I'll open it.
Just a couple of old, possibly wine bottles, some coin, and a jewelry box made out of silver. Nothing, unfortunately, else.
Is there
As you-
anything inside the jewelry box?
As you open it, you find that there is a silver necklace inside with a square cut brown gem, almost chocolate, You look, and just scattered about, what looks to be some more amber jewelry, a pinkish triangular cut gem that you would recognize as an amethyst, being a dwarf. And you see that there are a couple red diamonds.
So I look at it and I go, I'm flattered, but these wouldn't go with my complexion.
Balthazar is very interested in any gems and can hold on to those.
I'm gonna die.
I see no problem. And you did mention you need like reagents for spells in the future.
Yes, they will come in very handy.
I'll hand the necklace over to Balthazar, and I'll just say, like, take what you need, but we could also sell that for some good cash, I bet.
That and the silver jewelry box as well. Or I know of a certain beautiful woman who might actually appreciate a silver jewelry box. It's a thank you for all her help for us.
Okay, give me a perception. It is incredibly quiet. Other than the noise that's faintly coming from the trapdoor below, as your friends are kind of milling about searching the place, and their conversation. Even as you kind of move away from them, closer to the door, it's just the sound of rain.
Out of curiosity, is there anything like looking outside the windows on the lobby floor? Is there anything going on outside?
As you look outside, streets are completely empty.
All right. Like a suspiciously empty, or like it's raining outside and nobody's going outside and the plague empty?
It's rainy outside and just eerie.
Okay.
Like, this is like Silent Hill without the fog.
Ooh.
Kind of. That's how empty the streets feel. It almost makes you feel isolated as you kind of move about it. But it's also, as the old woman said, like, there hasn't been a lot of people on the streets lately.
I think we should probably walk around and check out these buildings over here. What say you all? At least we know where the bottles came from, so they must have made it somewhere else and then take bottles from here to fill.
How many hours are you guys willing to search the random buildings of this?
What time of day is it right now?
Right now, it's probably been. You guys got like an early start around 9 a.m. Your guys' walk to the granary, the fight, the House of Ashes. I'll say right now it's probably about 1 o'clock.
Well, how about we?
I figured that we'll search until like Toril's blood spice is about to wear off, and then we head out.
Well, no, not Toros, because some of us took ours. His is gonna run off before ours. We should probably search until ours runs out, because a lot of us took ours just like 30 minutes ago. Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say 2 hours. Like we do 2 hours and then start heading back before the sun starts going down. Maybe that would be the best approach. We were told to watch out for the night.
As you guys move about this southern ward, the one thing that does catch your attention is now as you look at the rooftops as you walk about, there are no more shadows that seem to be tailing you. Now it just seems to be rain. It's easy enough now that you guys know what to look for. The abandoned buildings, warehouses that you see that are sort of boarded up in the windows but not at the doors, that you do find the old sort of carved in marks of the looped chain. Each building you guys come to, abandoned. Empty. Quiet. Looted. Trash everywhere. Bottles broken. No sign of life. 2 hours pass. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon as you guys have found your way to the very southeastern portion of the Lower Hearts. What would you guys like to do?
Do we have time to just look in here first, and if we don't find anything, then head back?
The building you guys come to seems to be an old warehouse. Large 10-foot by 10-foot doors that seem to be attached to rollers. One of the roller doors broken. Either the roller wheels on one side just don't work or it's just stuck. You guys do manage to force in the other one. Inside is just a long, stone-lined dirt floor, broken crates. You look in the middle, and at one time it looks like there was a fire pit that was built in. Piles of broken wood kind of stand out from side to side. Okay. You look through the ashes of the fire pit. You see half-burned pieces of what seemed to be wood that once formed maybe the sides of crates. No signs of any legible papers that are still in there.
I'm sorry, what was that? My mom was asking me a question.
Oh, inside the fire pit, Steladris kind of went in and kind of looted around with his hands to look. He half burnt, long cold. No signs of any sort of like legible paper.
I'm not
But again,
one.
just the same sides of broken glass. Blankets kind of strewn about that were used to lay on.
Well, we've walked half the inner quarantine area at least this afternoon, and I haven't seen any evidence of this gang led by this Braz other than when we first got to the granary. Perhaps they're just not active much during the day. Were there other granaries in the area as well? I thought the lady said there were a couple that used to feed the area, and then now the bread's being shipped from outside the quarantine area.
No, just this one granary, but there were businesses here that did make bread for sale.
Okay.
Though most-
Okay, gotcha.
and
Can you
or
clarify
all of-
something?
Go ahead.
Can you clarify what did the timing? The timing she said again. Did she say the bread came from House Dillinger right before the plague started?
No, she said that a couple weeks after the plague started, when most of the bakeries and the people that work there just sort of succumbed to the sickness, that House Dillinger came in.
Oh, okay, so the bread
and started delivering bread as well, just to help serve the people.
Okay,
Just
so
said
the
it was a
bread and
godsend that they came.
okay, so the timing was that then we can probably assume that the bread from the bakeries here then was tainted and got them sick, not Dillinger.
That is my assumption as well. And
No, if you want to if you want to think that Dillinger's still involved, you could say that they basically caused a need and then filled it.
We won't know any answers till we find those orcs.
I guess we're not finding anything in this warehouse. Then do we search the whole? My family was asking me questions and such. I did miss out on some things.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much the only thing really left here, just a bunch of broken boxes that look like they were one time broken down just for wood to be burned. And just, again, signs that there were people here at one point. Garbage, broken bottles, blankets, stuff like that. But nobody's here any longer.
Guess this gang has moved on. Y'all want to start heading back to Rose?
Yeah, there's still those wells that we can check out, see if there's any tainting going on in the water.
well, we might as well hang out here until evening time anyway, if that's when the gangs get more violent.
That's also a good option.
Okay, so you guys are gonna take a short rest.
Yeah, sure.
A short rest here in this warehouse.
Okay. Okay, so you guys go ahead and take a short rest inside, kind of using this time to try your best to dry yourselves off, as the sound of rain is still sort of beating off of the roof, off the side of the walls.
Do we have time to go to the north? We don't want to head back to
It's
Rose.
it's only 3:00 in the afternoon at this point.
When does the sun set these days?
In the springtime, you're probably looking at about 7 or 8.
What are you
Oh, okay.
talking about, Jareth? Look up at the sky. The sun is set. There is no sun in this place. Just
It is
water
just
falling
right
from
now.
the
It's
heavens.
just that gray flat light Seattle.
The
It's kinda
player's
like-
asking.
Yeah, living in the Pacific
Jareth would
Northwest.
know. Well, Jareth would know basically what time it is. The player is asking basically, what does my character know as far as how much daylight is left?
Just judging by your time traveling through the month that you had, kind of going as you started traveling in the early spring, and now you're in Kareth, the planting month, and just judging as the days progress, you're probably counting on about 7 or 8 o'clock that the sun is going to begin to set.
Okay, so we have time to go north then, if you want to. We could cut across towards the northern edge of the quarantine zone and investigate, and then leave the quarantine zone. And the only problem is I did say we'd come back and get that old lady and help her out of this area.
I mean, you guys did speak with Otakar Set, before you did come in, who's the guy that did ask you to help. You could try to find him out. You know that he is in the Chamber of Commerce. The lady told you that there was an infirmary that's being set up at the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we should go back.
There's lots of ways you guys could go about this. I just want to see how you guys drive this yourself.
I think investigating the wells is not a bad idea. We said we were going to do that when we came in here, and we.
Yeah.
Maybe the bread is not the only thing these half-orc gangsters are.
Remember, I drank the water from a well, and I didn't get sick. At least not yet.
Well, but we haven't passed a well that from the north side, did we?
Yeah, not from the inner quarantine. It was the outer quarantine.
Yeah, we came from, I think, straight west of 6.
You guys drank a well from here before
Right.
you entered the inner quarantine.
We don't really know if they're connected in any way, so it might be a good idea to check the wells up there just in case.
Yeah, I think we could make our way to the north part of this quarantine area and see what others we might uncover.
And that is fine, but I'm honor bound to get the lady on the way over there. I did promise I would take her out of here.
You
Where
guys
was
should
that
be able.
Chamber
You
of
guys should be
Commerce?
able to control the token. So go ahead and move it where you guys want to go.
Where was that commerce area where the infirmary was being set up?
You can see it is number 2, just north of the old market.
Okay. We didn't go into the old market, did we?
You guys
we passed
passed
around it.
through. You guys
Okay.
passed through it. You were told to go to the old market and then head south to get to the Sunward Road.
Didn't spend a lot of time there. We could always go back to the old market as well and try to investigate there.
So what you guys immediately notice as you guys begin to move through now, the rain's still going. Although it's very quiet because I still have indoor rain. Is now the closer you got back to the center, and now you know what to look for, you're beginning to catch again the shadows that seem to jump in and out along the rooftops. You guys go ahead and give me.
I look at my leg and
Everybody
say, that's
give
not going to
me-
work for me.
Everybody give me a perception check.
Ugh, terrible.
Ooh, Balthazar.
God, there's no in between for you, David. It's either a really good roll or a really bad roll. There's no like 10s or 9s coming from you. It's just suck or good.
Yeah. Allison.
Balthazar, you watch as your friends are sort of looking about, and through the sound of the sheets of rain falling onto the ground, you hear what sounds like the sort of knocking and creaking of wood, and a yeah, yeah, and you can sort of pinpoint the noise coming to the west.
It sounds like a cart.
Yeah, like a horse-drawn cart type thing. And coming from the west.
To the west of you guys is where you're picking up the noise. Although for everybody else, it's hard to pick that up.
So I just tell the party that I hear some possible cart approaching from the west. Could be one of those that is carrying the dead bodies.
You know, if we saw the bodies not being taken to the church earlier, we could always try to follow those and see where they go.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I wanted to do.
So are we going to stealth kind of like
That's
between
an
the
excellent
buildings
plan.
and keep
Yeah.
an eye out and follow it?
Let's see where it leads us.
I even have the perfect token for this. This is so good. Okay, so what's your guys' plan? Are you guys going to stop the help?
Yes, as stealthily as we can. Anyway, maybe we'll stay half a
I don't know
block.
if you guys can. I don't know if you guys could actually see it, but it's a cart
I
with a
see it.
blanket covering dead bodies.
That's good. I like it.
That'll work.
I mean, the noise is still far off.
We can head towards the noise so we see it, then we can see where it goes.
Ooh, wait! I have an idea. I'll turn around and look at the group since we have a few moments to plan what we're gonna do, and I say perhaps we can find a way to the rooftops and follow this cart along the rooftops.
Did we try that earlier and realize we couldn't get up there?
No, not that we couldn't, just that we couldn't do it in a quick amount of time to catch whoever might be up there. But this time we have a while to prepare.
I fear I may not be the most spry on a rooftop.
Yes, perhaps one group should take to the rooftops and the other on foot. That way I have two chances in case one of us...
I think the dwarf's idea is brilliant. I think we split up and we take the more athletic and spry people along the rooftops, and the rest of you can follow along on the ground.
Okay, here's the question: who's going up on the rooftop?
I want to go on the rooftop.
I
Okay.
will be hashtag ground control.
Okay, so the heavy armor wearing guys are going up onto the rickety wooden roofs. This is
I'm
perfect.
not wearing heavy armor. I'm wearing a chain
I'm-
shirt. It's
I'm
lighter.
not going up there.
And it's like 20 pounds. That's like studded leather. It's a little bit better than studded leather. It's one better than studded leather.
Okay, so far
I'm 3
Talandris,
feet tall. I am not going on the roof.
Talandris and Toral. Who else on the rooftop?
Oriana, you're not going to come up here with us? Aren't you kind of spry?
No.
Damn it. I was really hoping the tiefling would be jumping along rooftops like frickin' Nightcrawler. That would be awesome.
Like her picture.
Yes, her picture makes her look spry and athletic.
Well, don't want the image for you.
Just the two elves is fine. We're faster probably on our own anyway.
Okay. You two go ahead and give me athletics. Give me athletics checks, as you guys do find that there are places to sort of scramble up to try to get up to the first couple rooftops to work your way up.
Praise be to Pelor, who will lift me up with the rays of the sun onto these rooftops.
Can I just roll just for the
18 total.
Yeah, go ahead. Toro, this is nothing to you. This is bringing you back to the times to when you were sort of clambering over the rooftops of the sort of Adobe built, the Adobe stone built buildings in Morocco when you were growing up. And you make it up fast, finding the handholds quick. But you look behind you and you see that Talandris is struggling, and it's taking him almost twice as long as you to get up, as he's very careful of where he puts his hand due to just the sort of moss buildup from the constant wetness of this place. You actually see at one point that he grabs onto a rotten piece of wood and it breaks in his grip and he almost slips off, but he manages to catch himself. And you wait what seems to be probably 10 minutes for Talandris to make it all the way up to the top of the rooftops with you, as the second group, consisting of Jareth, Callus, Orion, and Balthazar, begin to move west. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split these.
Well, I was thinking more like when you're jumping between buildings, that would be acrobatics. I don't want to fall to the floor.
Yeah, that would be acrobatics.
Well,
So
jumping
group
is
two-
still an athletics check. So when you jump 10 feet gap, that's an athletics check, not an acrobatics check. Usually.
Group 2 is the rooftop. Group 1 is on the ground. So whoever's in Group 1 that wants to control the token, go for it. Whoever's in Group 2 who wants to control the token, go for it. Group 2, as you get up to the rooftops, you're looking again as you're really starting to get to see how ramshackle this place is. Roofs at just different angles. You see like ladders crossing gaps. Haphazard bridges crossing gaps. What almost looked to be like really kind of shoddy looking rope bridges that go over gaps. But up top here, there seems to be an entire microcosm of a city that's not seen from the ground.
Sorry, Mark, I'm having a Bree moment where Bree would be like thrilled to be up on these rooftops and she would just start running around and practicing.
If this
It's
was
like on these rooftops. This is home for her.
if
It's awesome.
if this was Bree or Drummond, you guys would get to do acrobatics for all your cool parkour.
Heck yeah, I'd be doing Assassin's Creed shit all over these roofs.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check. You look around, and the haze from the raindrops is a lot more prevalent along the rooftops, and everything seems to be more obscured up here than it is actually on the ground. You do see shadows, but they're sort of stationary, and you sort of look longer, and you see that it's being cast by, a pole coming out of a roof. You think you see a person, but it's actually kind of looks like just clothes kind of caught on a clothesline.
Can we see the street clearly from up here, or is it also obscured?
You look down as getting as close to the edge as you can stomach, and you do have a very good view of the roads below.
Okay, so I would tell Talandris that we may not have much range of vision, like across the rooftops, but we can keep an eye on the streets fairly easily. So I say we kind of stay up here, maybe crouch and hide and wait for the cart to pass and follow it, and our friends as well. So I'm gonna move along these roofs towards the other group and the cart. So I'm gonna move the token where I intend.
Out of curiosity, we like settle upon like a signal or something so we can follow you guys, like caca or something.
So are
was
you
just about to make a bird noise.
yelling that up to the roofs like, hey, do we have
No.
a signal? Because they're already on the roof.
No.
No, don't worry. You won't miss my signal, Jareth. I have one in mind.
Balthazar, again, off in the distance, you hear the sound, but it seems to be getting further away now as you guys have been just kind of standing about,
Can we
discussing.
Wait, using Balthazar to try to help us try to get closer to it since he's hearing it? They lead the way.
Each one of these gaps, Talandris and Toral,
Yes.
I'm going to need acrobatics checks as you guys try to go over these rickety bridges. No, this is acrobatics and balance, not athletics. Which is why I really thought it was funny that
I can also say a prayer to help you get across if you need, Talandris.
Just don't roll one, please. I'm very acrobatic. One.
Hey.
There you go.
Okay, so both of you managed to cross the first gap with ease. The bridge is a little bit slick from the rain. It does give with your weight, kind of like, just like a really, it's kind of scary. It kind of bobs with your weight as you make it across, but you make it across the gap no problem. As you begin to sort of sprint closer along the other side, running across, getting towards the second gap, I'm going to need another acrobatics check.
This is why I didn't go up there.
Crossing these buildings, taking the glory of Pelor with me, I will give myself guidance on this check.
Wow,
You don't need it.
Laura gives it.
You don't need it. You guys,
25.
with a sense of purpose and resolve, that it seems like you're finally close to grabbing onto something for the first time in quite a while all day. You guys just noses down, heads forward, sprinting across these as you go. Now, the closer you guys get over the top, I'm going to need stealth checks.
We put for down the ground group. We're trying to have Balthazar lead the way with his hearing, and
Talandris, you're wearing chainmail. That's a
Mel has
disadvantage.
disadvantage on stealth. That's why I'm wearing a chain shirt. For that specific reason.
So go ahead and toggle disadvantage and just give me a roll. See what happens. Okay. Your footsteps are loud, but you don't know if they're breaking through the din of the rain or not. But you do seem to be sort of clopping your way through here, as sort of Toril is kind of moving about quite silently. Those of you on the ground, are you just kind of hiding out in that alley?
Yeah,
We were trying to catch up to the cart.
I'm
but we were
keeping
gonna
my
sneak around.
ears and taking a peek to see if I see anything come down that street. And not that it would really help depending on your call, but I do have that stone cunning or stone camouflage. I know these are buildings, but
Well, these buildings are made of wood, so you wouldn't be able to really get that.
You could blend in with the cobblestone.
Those of you on the ground, if you're moving stealthily, go ahead and give me a stealth check. Jareth, yours will be a disadvantage.
yes, but I'm holding a shield.
Oh no.
oh my goodness.
Okay, so as you're sort of
I'm not very stealthy.
moving about, you guys
God
peek around the
damn.
corner. Just as Group 2 sort of makes it to the edge, as the cart is being pushed by what seems to be like two mules, and there's two riders up top. And you see them slow down and then keep going this way.
Crap, I want to follow them.
Okay, I'm going to need
I got
another dexterity, or I need another acrobatics check as you guys try to cross that chasm again. Toril, for shits and giggles, give me a straight dexterity check. Okay. So as you're running across, you hear a slip and a oof, and you look as Talandris, his heel has came out and he started to fall on his side, eyes wide, reaching up for the wood with one hand, clasping on, and you reach down just as his hand is about to slip and grab onto his wrist and pull him back up and kind of patting him on the back to make sure that he's got his footing before turning and continuing to run. Talandris, you had a very close call and almost fell.
Maybe we should try to slow down a little bit, Talandris. It seems that your footing is a little less sure on these slippery roofs. they're gonna go crashing right into the ground group. I love it. They're gonna like intersect.
You guys kind of stop in the alleyway, and you're watching as the cart now begins to go through this.
Does the
area.
cart look like it has a bunch of bodies on it?
It does.
It
There's a
does.
large sort of like tarp-like blanket on the back, and you can see there's like feet and hands and stuff sticking out of the back.
They have limbs, but no torsos. Guys, what do we do?
Stop there.
Well, you guys went this way as you guys were moving. As you saw it, you were thinking about going around the back. As you guys get here, you guys have lost sight of it. Group 2, however, saw where they seem to have pulled into an alleyway and just kind of stopped. Kind of like an old cul-de-sac area. What seems to be old residential homes that have been long boarded up in this kind of like makeshift cobbled courtyard.
Well, it's close to the granary.
And you guys
Mark,
can
that's
actually...
my acrobatics for this gap right here that we crossed to get to where we are now.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
Shit, Delandris didn't go slow enough.
Delandris. I need a dexterity saving throw. Okay. So going across, you actually slip and you begin to fall. You actually crash through a ceiling, hitting a floor 20 feet down.
Whew.
Ooh, now the party is split 3 ways. I love it.
What's the damage on that?
You take 8 points of bludgeoning damage as you crash and land onto the floor.
Ay caramba.
All you hear is a very loud crashing noise behind you, Toril, and Talandris is no longer in your vision.
I do like a double take where I look to see where the cart parked in the alley, and then I turn around, and then I look at the cart again, and then I kind of shrug my shoulders and turn around and go back for Talandris. I gotta check on him, so I would backtrack to where I last saw him.
Those of you on the ground south of where this happened, you guys do hear what sounds like the sound of a muffled crash to your ears through the rain, but it was pretty audible. As you guys are now kind of in this crossroad, looking up at the ceiling, or looking up at the rooftops, looking down the road, you have lost track of where the wagon was, as you can no longer see it on the road. But you do know that it turned down this way.
It didn't pass us, so yeah, it has to be around this area somewhere.
I guess we can start looking through windows?
Mark, I would like
Agreed.
to look around on the ground near where the cart went for any manner of living creature, a rat, a snail, a fly, anything.
You're back to Talandris, right? Isn't that what you said before?
Yeah, you're right. I'll do that next. This thing is next. So I would go back and look for Talandris first. Sorry, guys, I was going to leave you your sign, but Talandris falling has taken precedence over me leaving you a sign.
No, it's okay. We know the car didn't pass us. They know it's around here somewhere because we were in the side area.
So
Okay,
the
so-
buildings,
Pass by.
the buildings
Finding
you
it
guys,
is on you.
the building you guys are trying to cross was almost like steps. The third floor went down 10 feet, and he fell all the way to the very first floor, or the floor of the second story through the roof. And it's easy enough for you to look down and see where he crashed. You can still see dust from the inside as water's coming in, as you see sort of Talandris kind of picking himself up.
I would say in a louder, kind of hushed voice, Talandris, is anything broken? Are you okay? the strength of his willpower is impressive to me, especially after that boost of will that he's fighting on through the pain. And I kind of give him a slight bow of reverence to his mastery of himself and his limits, and say, well, if you need any help, I think I see where the cart went. I'm going to go back to the edge of the roof and keep an eye out for it.
Those of you on the ground, as you sort of look down the road, now you begin to see two guards, shields drawn, short swords out, as they step out of this alleyway, and they're sort of scanning the rooftops, and you see kind of one of them pointing up there, and they're sort of whispering amongst themselves. There's boarded up windows, yes. After a couple rats kind of scattered in surprise, there's not a living soul in that room but you. It's a pretty thin gap, but where you are in conjunction to where they are is like you're here where you fell. Like you fell right at the crossing. So you'd be trying to peek through a gap this way, through a window that faces out that way. You know what I'm saying? But you are more than welcome to try.
I whispered to the party, should I try to distract them?
You can see that they start turning around the two guards, and they start making their way back into that alley.
Ah, okay, good.
Well, at least we know exactly where.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
they
know
said
where they're
sure.
taking them, but what are they doing with them? That's the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
I have a disgusting thought, but only because I grew up on the streets.
Uh-oh, what's going on?
They're coming out. They're leaving again. They got a body. And they're leaving. Or they unloaded the bodies. No, let's not follow them. Let's actually see what they took with them.
When they pulled out, Mark, can I tell if there's no bodies on the cart or bodies have been added?
There are still bodies on the cart. Go ahead and give me a perception check. It's going to have to be pretty high if you're going to try to see if they might have added like one or two more bodies.
We all try since we're watching.
Sure. What are you trying to look at precisely? Okay. Through the board as they go underneath, just with the sound of the wagon creaking and going, and also the sound of the clopping hooves of the horse, you're picking up the sound, and you can barely see them through the gap, going north again. Oriana and Jareth, you guys notice that the cart looks just about the same.
Why would it have stopped? We're going to have to investigate. Toral's on fire.
Do
As
I
it
see
goes-
anything as I watch the cart pull out? Because I was leaning over the roof looking at the cart when it parked.
You're leaning over the roof, kind of looking out, and you're seeing that the people on the cart are watching the rooftops.
Oh, well, I would pull my head back to see that they don't see me. But I imagine like I'm laying on my stomach, kind of leaning over, looking down, but trying to not let them see me. But they're watching the rooftops, so interesting. They know that they're being stalked.
The loud crash from the rooftops in a
Yeah.
pretty quiet place kind of gave it away.
I either we have a split second decision to make. Do we follow the cart or investigate where they stop?
It looks like this.
Party.
Well,
Ground group right
if
now.
they're empty, I'm pretty sure we know where they're going to get more bodies. I think you're already there.
It's easy enough for you to sort of go out the front door, follow along the edges, and kind of like in a very Ready Player One kind of way, like move about these stacks of shanties and make your way down to the bottom.
I might want to investigate where they went to, because if it didn't look like it changed, maybe they got something else they put in the cart, not a body. Maybe there's something here.
Well, I want to see what they're doing with the bodies, why they brought them.
Yeah, I want to investigate that.
You hear it, and it's receding.
It like flew off the map, actually.
It's all- you guys have all lost sight of it.
I say we check the area out. We lost sight anyway.
That's fine. I think that's a smart idea because they didn't bring the bodies to the temple, the church. They brought them somewhere else. So something else is going on here.
Yeah, they
Mark,
came up with
Is
something.
there any kind of tall pole with perhaps a lantern on it that they light at night to like light the streets up when they might used to have done that?
Definitely not one that's 30 feet tall.
Darn it.
But, but I'll say it's easy enough for you to Assassin's Creed your way down some stuff. For
Okay.
Some coolness factor.
Yeah, I was gonna try to look for a long fireman pole and just kind of slide down it.
We'll say that you sort of like scramble down, like rooftop chase, like down on your hip, landing on the second story, and then landing on the first story.
Right
And
on.
then you see an old lantern post where some candle lamps were, and you run and you jump on it and just 3-point.
And that's how you do that, guys. That's how we do it down in the South.
Since you like aced all those acrobatics checks, anyways.
That's what I'm good at today.
It would have been funny to have a acrobatics check to get down just to see if he split.
I know, I couldn't do that to him. So you guys make your way into this sort of alley pull-off that they went in, and what you look at is it was at one time it looked like a pretty nice place, but again, all the doors and the windows seem to be boarded up. You look at the doors, each one painted with a white X, and it's just kind of a cul-de-sac. Those of you looking, go ahead. You guys can either give me perception or investigation as you kind of look about.
Jareth, are you going to help me, or?
Talandris and Oriana, off the bat, you guys begin to pick up the mud that's kind of built up on the wagon wheels and sign. You guys see where it's sort of clumped up, where it stopped. You can actually see where one of the horses actually just kind of relieved itself at that moment, as there's like a pile of steaming dung right there. Balthazar, you pick it up too. And you actually can see where the cart just looked like it looped in this small cul-de-sac and exited out and went north.
There's got to be something here. We got to investigate that spot. I mean, why drive here just to turn around?
Probably to see if they can distract us with something for a while and take off. But the area doesn't look disturbed in any way. There's no
The area
drag
does not
marks
look
from a
disturbed.
body.
Nope.
Yeah, I think we were duped, guys.
No.
Talandris, you can actually see with your perception that there are some bodies kind of like huddled in a corner, rail thin, gaunt, skin grayed, probably long dead.
They could have dumped bodies here.
These bodies look like they were infected with the plague.
These bodies definitely look like they were infected with plague. Eyes melted out, blood running down through the nose, out of the mouth, bleeding from the ears, buboes long since turned pitch black.
Well, it didn't look like they had dropped off anything by the size of the cart earlier, at least from what I could tell.
From what you guys can tell, it looks like they pulled in here, walked out on the road, looked around, couldn't see anything, turned the wagon around, and left.
But yet there's still bodies. If they're gathering bodies, why didn't they grab these bodies?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Maybe they're placing these bodies in specific areas where the plague might be prone to spreading, outside of just attacking the granary or the wells. If they're doing that as well.
As you have this thought, Oriana, you look around the buildings and you see that these buildings already look like they've been checked for plague, and perhaps the white X's are markers that these houses have been cleaned to the dead and are sort of closed.
Did we notice, Mark? Could we tell the wagon pushers what race they were at all?
They were human, from what you can see.
Okay.
Each one wearing the same livery and armor that you saw the two Dellinger guards when you first entered the inner quarantine.
Okay, so they were probably legit body collectors.
Anyone want to search these bodies?
Well,
How much longer is on our thing?
my potion thing is worn out, so I don't want to touch the dead yet. Till I've rested and asked Pelor for aid.
Can also like poke at one. It's like, are they covered by anything, or are they just splayed out dead?
This body looks like it died, sort of clinging its knees to its chest, leaning up against the wall. You poke it, the whole thing moves. You kind of stick your pickaxe in to kind of like pry the hand away, and it is stiff with rigor.
I'm kind of looking to see if like they like smuggled anything in through the bodies.
Are you gonna cut the body open?
No, not if there's, unless there's a unusual or odd bulge in the stomach. I'm not going to do that.
No, you're looking at it. It almost looks like this body's been dead for quite a while. If it wasn't so wet, you'd think that it'd almost be a mummy with how gaunt and sucked in the face is. Like you can see where the whiskers are starting to poke through the skin of this body as the hair continues to grow past death, kind of thing.
Did we check the buildings that they dumped them in front?
There's only just this one body kind of in the corner. And from what the others explained, it looked like they pulled in, got out, searched the street, looking around the rooftops, maybe investigating the crashing noise before jumping back in, turning the wagon around and leaving.
So they dumped it like in this little like corner or crevice or.
Yeah, you don't know if they dumped it or if it's just they didn't care.
Well,
I also recognized that we're right next to the granary that we got into a fight with the half-orcs in, like the same alley. Can I search the area where they pulled the cart into for any doors or openings or?
I had the same thought.
Yeah, I thought I described it with everybody else's, but you guys are looking at a bunch of homes that have all been boarded up, windows, doors. Each of the doors of the boards have been painted with a white X. I mean, there are a lot of houses that you guys can break into, but it doesn't look like anybody's been in these for a while.
Okay, yeah, I think those houses are marked as cleaned, like they're done with those. Yeah, maybe we just didn't get the drop on the cart. We alerted them by making too much noise, and they stopped doing what they were doing.
Yeah, I get that. My problem is they were obviously heading south. Why would they pull in and not continue to head south? Why turn all the way around and north again?
Well, maybe because people get shot in the streets coming out of buildings, like in this area, because we did
And maybe
when we
because,
exited a building.
Maybe because all you guys rolled under a 10 on your stealth.
Yeah, I'm saying that they heard crashing, threatening noises all around them and got spooked.
I say we go back to the wells and investigate there. That's where we saw the cart coming from. Maybe we run into them again, or we find another one.
Is it? We still got some daylight.
I'd say, let's see, it was 3 o'clock when you guys left there. It's getting close to dusk. I'd say about 7 o'clock-ish now.
So I would suggest that we go back to the House of Ashes so that Jareth can make good on his promise. Then we head out and basically just accumulate all that we've learned and maybe go speak to some people on the outside.
I think that's a fair. I don't want to be in here too much after dark. When Pelor's light disappears beyond the horizon, his blessings are weaker. I agree with that. Also, maybe we have a plan of attack for the next day. Maybe we can hide and find a cart and be a little bit more careful in our stealthy approach. Maybe the heavy armor wearing people can leave their armor behind for the day while we try to be stealthy if we're going to follow one of these carts.
The rain begins to ebb to a light shower. Fog begins to roll out through the streets. The temperature is dropping.
Okay, let's make our way to House of Ashes.
Head to the church.
All right.
Okay, it's easy enough as you guys make your way to the House of Ashes. Knock on the door, Jareth. What were you doing again?
Are you on mute, Jareth?
I'm sorry, I don't know how I muted myself. I was going to say basically, let's go back. I'll knock on the door and ask if I may collect her to take her as I promised to the House of Commerce, Chamber of Commerce.
You see now it was the younger priest that came and answered the door, and
It's terrified of us.
yes, give me a second. I'll retrieve her. And then he comes and he's carrying the old woman. You can see that she's wearing new clothes, dry. They gave her a cloak to wear. She seems a lot warmer, though still quite weak.
I thank him for his hospitality, and I offer to carry her like I did before.
May the scales judge you for your honor, sir. And closes.
Okay. As he says that, I say, may the shining lady's radiance shine upon you as well, and then I pick her up. Come, my lady, let's take you to a better place.
Okay, do you guys head directly west, or do you guys go north?
I think we follow this path kind of northwest towards the well like that, if that's agreeable.
Because it's a close to the line where the quarantine zone ends.
And it's heading in the direction of the infirmary.
Yeah, okay. I thought we were heading towards the orphanage again, but if we're going
to Chamber of Commerce, where she wanted to go, which was where she wanted to go.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I would be following along, and Mark, I would actually ask the group to stop for a moment because it's nearly sunset, correct?
Yes. The sun is beginning to set, is growing darker.
I have to stop and find west and face west and pray. I have to stop. If I don't say my prayer at sunset, Pelor's blessings may not be upon me tomorrow. Just give me a few minutes. And I would kneel down in the mud with my little tiny rolled up blanket towel thing that I carry and my prayer mat. And then I would do my prayer and then get up and follow the party.
10 minutes passes by.
Yes, I'm long-winded.
You guys begin. So from the House of Ashes, about that time, I mean, it's dark. Like, it's dark by the time you guys get up towards the lighted streets outside the inner quarantine. You do see some questioning looks as you guys are going through another what seems to be sort of barricade of people. Guards, again, bearing the House Dellinger crest at the line as they sort of hear you guys coming with questioning looks as they pull out some swords and shields. Where did you guys? Where did you come from? State your business.
Well, we came in from the other gate, south of here. Well, we entered the inner quarantine from that other gate, and then we're coming out through this gate.
But no one's allowed in the inner quarantine.
Autocars.
That's the point. That's the point of an inner quarantine.
Right.
Autocar
So
sent us to
we will
investigate.
just leave, and we will not come back tonight.
We were sent by House Dillinger through Autocar to investigate this plague, and we have news we need to present to him. I also found someone who is not infected and wish to bring her to the infirmary as soon as possible. As you can see, she's quite frail, and making her stand in the rain like this is quite rude.
And you see they just kind of look around, just still sort of dazed and kind of stunned at the fact that you guys have seemingly walked out of here and they don't know who you are, carrying a frail old woman, and they just kind of let you guys pass.
I whispered to Terrell, it's a good thing they're terrible guards.
Well, yeah, the point of a quarantine is that the people inside the quarantine area shouldn't be able to get out, so I love that we just walked right by. That one guard could have killed this entire town.
And you guys are looking as you pass, and you're noticing that these guards, all of them, are young, fresh-faced, doughy-eyed. Just really don't look like they know what they're doing.
It seems like House Dillinger's not putting a lot of effort in this quarantine, if I must say.
Yeah, I'm kind of becoming a little suspicious of House Dellinger more and more.
Or all of the ones who were experienced have died, and now it's on the younger kids to take up the mantle.
You guys make your way to a very well-established stone building, well lit along the outside. The doors are open, and you guys see warm light coming from the inside. It's probably about, with the walk going slow with the woman through the town, getting everything there, it's probably about between 9 and 9:30 at night. You do make it in, and as you guys walk in, you see that this is really, truly an infirmary. You guys are looking at like nurses and some people acting as doctors, going and attending to those who are sick. You see them sort of bleeding out the pus buboes and some of the people sort of trying to ease the pain they're in. And a lot of cots lay fully covered with dead.
My lady, I'm not sure this is the best place for you, considering you're not sick anymore. You sure this is where you wish to go?
I have no other place to go, child.
Perhaps we can take you to the orphanage. Maybe you can be of assistance to Rose there.
It is quite a walk for you, I assume. And I would just presume to just stay here, and perhaps I can help you.
I understand. I give her a kiss on her palm and say, then may the shining lady shine upon you again. Take care. And I tell the doctors that she's not sick and that she wishes to assist in any way and that kind of thing.
A familiar face kind of screams out and kind of runs out towards you guys, and you guys do see that Ottakar is here. and you see that he still looks incredibly tired. The bags under his eyes are still going, as you see that he has his sleeves rolled up and he's wearing what seems to be long sort of leather gloves. Some still soaked with blood, as he appears to be trying to do his best to kind of help out around. And he's like, I've been looking everywhere for you. Where have you all been?
Inner quarantine. Having a whale of a time.
Did you make your way to the House of Ashes? And his voice drops down to a very conspiratorial tone.
We did stop there, yes, but before we were there, we saw some half-orc gang members go into one of the granaries and attempt to poison it.
Not here. And he follows you.
Okay.
And he asks you guys, and he takes you back to a closed room, closes the door, and he brings you guys in.
As we're going, could I ask, like, the dead bodies? I'm just curious if they. I was looking to see if there were like any bracelets on them or something. I'm looking for any trinkets they're still wearing.
You're looking for jewelries on the dead bodies in the cot?
Yes.
You'll have to lift up blankets to do so, as they're all sort of covered.
Ew.
I will deal with my plan later once I have it all fleshed out.
Okay, because it's like, in any scene in a movie where they die at a hospital and they just kind of cover them with a cloth. That's kind of what's happening with these bodies, but you're more than welcome. He takes you guys back into a room, closes the door as you guys all kind of shuffle in. And he's like, I have some news to share with you as well. House Dellinger has been taking the bodies, according to the gods, to the House of Ashes for cremation, but when I visited the House of Ashes myself to pay my respects, it seems that they have not been getting bodies at all. This was the most urgent news which I wanted to speak with you all, but I haven't found you all until you stumbled into here yourselves.
Well, conveniently enough. Yeah, that's what the guy told us, the priest told them. And we also saw a cart just kind of wandering through the streets with bodies on them. We don't know where he was taking them.
I too tried to follow one of the carts when I saw it just to see, but I'm not exactly built for this sort of thing, and I lost them through the winding streets.
As to other news, as I was saying outside, when we first entered the quarantine area, we first came upon a granary where we saw some unsavory half-orcs go in, and when we followed, we heard that they were basically trying to contaminate the grain.
I pulled out my vial that's full of the tainted grain.
He takes a step back.
Some of my compatriots here saw, when they infected the grain, a strange greenish mist wafting from it. I saw the same effect when I cured that old woman I brought in. When her pustules on the side of her neck went away, the same kind of green mist escaped her. Leads me to believe that perhaps the sickness has started from the grain itself.
Well, then, if that's the case, the entire district is infected. That grain feeds the entire district.
It's sort of what the lady said, that basically they've been getting their bread from those granaries, and then the owners died, which means they themselves probably had their own contaminated bread.
And you can see that he's very confused as to why somebody would do this.
All we know about
but more so confused.
All we know about the half-orcs is that they were once in the southeast, but we couldn't find any trace of them, and they're run by someone named Bros.
I'm well aware of Bros.
Bros.
They operate and call themselves the Chain. They move around quite a bit. They stay away from the more, what's the word I'm looking for? Populated areas of the ward, sticking to the old warehouses and the abandoned buildings further to the southeast, where the fires once ravaged.
Strange that we did not find them there.
Why? It does not make sense for denizens that live inside here to be poisoning the people. None.
I have a question real quick. Those coins that I got off the leader of the gangs, would they anything interesting about them, or just standard coins, like no like imprints of house markings or anything like that?
Nope. Standard imperial print.
Okay. I do mention though that the leader of the group we did dispatch, he did seem like he was well paid for his work.
I can bring this news to the young lady Dellinger and see if she knows anything, or she may be able to spare more men.
Not to be indelicate, but do you think we can trust her, considering what we've seen?
She's incredibly forthright. I trust her deeply. She has helped this quarter more than most.
Does
Then
the Lady
maybe bring this-
Dillinger have any enemies?
Well, if you're speaking of Lady Yvonne, the matriarch, then yes. There are rumors that she is part of the underground, but we don't speak too much. But it is the young Lady Ilana, her stepdaughter, that helps us the most. Fundraisers, donations, things of that sort. She still cares for this quarter that was once her family's, even though it seems the rest have all but forgotten us.
What's the underground?
Black market dealings, that sort of thing. Rumors, just mostly rumors.
Dark arts.
That I would not know.
Did she buy a plague and have it unleashed in this area?
What would that accomplish?
I don't know. It'll clear the place out, first of all. You can rebuild. That's my first thought.
Perhaps the plague is a cover for something even more insidious.
Yeah, perhaps the plague is a cover.
It did clear out that area of suspicion and of watchful observance.
So they take bodies and maybe place them in areas to try to get more of the city infected. We don't. That's my guess. I don't know. We haven't found where they take the bodies. Maybe they use them to pollute the grain and the water.
Yeah, I had the cynical idea that maybe the plague bodies are also used to make more of the plague.
Yeah.
The waters here have been clean. Everybody drinks from the waters. Even those that are not sick, no one has shown sickness from it. Are you saying that they could be doing that next? You can see now he's in full panic mode.
Well, that depends. Are all the wells here connected?
All the wells draw their water from the river that runs through the city.
I was thinking more they're just using the dead bodies to make more for the grain, but they wouldn't probably reach the end of that.
So wait. Hold on. The wells throughout the entire city are connected?
All the wells draw themselves from the water table below the city that runs from the rivers that splits through.
Then could be their end game. We haven't investigated the wells yet.
I grabbed a sample. I asked him if there's a way that he can test.
Perhaps I can take it to some people outside of the walls, and perhaps ask them. But I'm but a simple councilman. These dark sayings and ominous words you speak are far beyond my knowledge.
So has Braz been seen outside of the inner quarantine? We didn't see them after the granary, and we checked around in the old warehouses and didn't find anything. It's like they moved on.
I praise Lathander. That I have not crossed paths with anyone from the Chained in my time being here.
Are there other places in the inner quarantine that would go if they were done with those old warehouses?
The only places left would be underground, in the sewers.
Where's the best way to get that way?
Most cul-de-sacs here have irrigation runs that go down underneath, that connect to the sewers themselves.
Oh.
Cul-de-sac. We were at a cul-de-sac.
Well, I think we have a plan of attack then for tomorrow.
And the puzzle pieces fall into place.
And
The sewers here in Dastar are some of the oldest in the Empire, first helped built by the dwarves after the Age of Woe as a sign of peace, to help, obviously, with what they considered humans' woeful sense of sanitation. All the great cities have them built into the foundations.
This whole district as a whole is the oldest part of the city, yes?
One of the oldest. The city, according to history, first grew around the river. That is when the clans first started building. The first Imperial home was indeed built upon King's Hill, up where the castle now sits, and the city sort of trickled out from there. But at one point, the Lower Hearts here was one of the most prominent and wealthiest before, well, it just seemed ill luck had fallen the district between fires and disease.
Seems less ill luck and more a plan. If the sewers are connected to the city, that could be, if they be a method of transportation. And it could also be where they're taking the bodies.
Some are connected, though most are controlled in quarters. For instance, the old market has its own sewer. The buildings around it collect within it, where it drains back into the river system.
It seems like a good way to transport plague bodies without having to go through the walls.
I'm thinking we should go that one cul-de-sac, and there was something there. We just didn't look on the floors.
So there are people killing citizens with the plague just to smuggle their bodies out of the city?
This is all just speculation right now.
And you can see, like, he's pinching his nose. He's like, what is going on?
I could be totally wrong, and this could be worst case scenario, but...
And if you go by the facts, we're pretty confident that the plague was spread through the grain based on what we've seen. But why they're doing it, and if they're going to go further with it, is still speculation.
I have an active imagination.
Now, forgive our friend. He seems like he wants to have the whole city in plague in his thoughts.
First of all, she. Second of all, whole city?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And he's like, you can see, like, he's pale. Like, all the color has left his face, and like he's like, his hands are shaking. He is fucking terrified because he feels like he has stumbled onto something that he should not have stumbled.
I put my hand reassuringly on his shoulder.
Yeah, we got
Read
it.
my mind. Yeah, I read my mind.
All right. Well, I say we rest up and head back to that cul-de-sac and find us some sewers. Maybe we could find some were-rats. Are those real?
Oh, payment, yes. The grain. I asked if you could find perhaps where the plague was coming from. Do you think there could be more than just the grain?
We don't know yet.
And you see him kind of shakily move over. He moves aside a picture. On the back side is a safe.
I would just have one people eating bread for now on.
There he opens up the safe and he pulls out 2 bags. This is the full reward of everything that we've had. 50 platinum, 25 in each. I do thank you for your help, and I do hope that you continue to help see this through. I will try to send word to young Lady Dellinger who gave us this money for the reward, and I will let her know what is going on. See if we can get to the bottom of this.
If you can, though, even though what we said was speculation, maybe private message her somehow. Talk to her directly with not too many other people around, just in case.
Yeah, I agree on that one.
There are too many ears that may not want her to know this information. Keep cutting in and out on this.
No, I hear you.
I can try my best to be as vague as I can, and he looks to you questioning.
Oh, we don't mean vague. Just if you talk to her, maybe just talk to her alone. Don't talk in mixed company.
I will try my best.
Definitely avoid the elder.
If it's easy enough to divide the coins by splitting some up into gold, more than welcome.
We also need to split up all the gold from the half-orcs.
Yep, and I'll let you guys do that after the session. Somebody can be group treasurer since
Yep.
Tyro is in.
Somebody should be group treasurer and take on that task, and then post in the chat what each person gets, and split the coins as if they're real coins. So if you have 50 platinum and 40 gold, and I mean, we could go to a market and trade coins, but
Yeah, I did it for Land of Song, so I'm not going to do it as you.
I've got a list. I just need to write down what the orcs had.
David, you should take that on, because I did it for Curse of Strahd and the Mines of Phandelver as Bree, because I made it part of her character. But I would do it here also, but I did it already too. So
Skimming a little off the top.
Bree always did take her percentage.
Finder's fee.
That's exactly right.
You always gave Vril less than everybody else.
On purpose. Vril deserved less than everybody else.
I was a pain to all of you.
So receiving the 2 bags of 25 platinum, as you guys have seemingly found what seems to be the source of the sickness. You guys make your way out of the quarantine back into the night streets. It's probably what seems to be like an hour-long conversation that you guys had in the confidence of Ottokar's office.
So then do we rest up at the orphanage again tonight, guys?
Probably the best. We get a meal there and everything. Remember, we also got the necklace with the 2 jewels and 2 rose amethysts and the silver jewel box.
Yeah, I got it all.
You might want to get those checked so you don't send a dark evil entity after Rose.
I think it's just a ring, which Balthazar has.
Yeah.
Do you know that for sure?
Judging by where we found the other stuff, I don't think it would be evil, but
Does Ottokar know about the ring?
Ottokar knows nothing about the ring. You guys didn't share anything about the ring with me.
Well, no, that's what I was asking the group. Yeah, like, did we talk to?
No, we didn't do that ring to them.
Do you think he would know anything about it?
The only person you guys shared the ring with was the priest who did a scrying
Rose.
on it and saw something that kind of freaked him out through the scrying.
We had Rose look at it too. She didn't
Yeah,
another
recognize it.
question.
Rose saw it.
I have another question. How much do we? I'm gonna start walking away from the infirmary at this point, assuming we're heading back to the orphanage.
Okay, so you guys are making your way down through the old market. You guys notice now that the only really light that's on is at the Copper Wand, which is the sort of only tavern that looks like it's kind of open in this town at the moment.
So, how much do we trust Ottakar? Out of curiosity.
For now, trust him, but that's just my gut feeling.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if maybe we should keep an eye on him as well. Sort of like the best way to hide what he's doing is to hire some people who are new to town to investigate it. From a dismantling organization.
Okay, so you guys are going to go into the bar? Or the tavern?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, you guys do take a quick look inside. The inside is warmly lit. However, the sort of age of the place, it's a dive bar. You can see it in the furniture and the cracked wood tables. The tables look like they haven't been oiled. The chairs look like they haven't been oiled in forever. They have that sort of graying patina on the outside. It smells of a wood fire. It is warm. There's maybe a couple people scattered about and just kind of one dour looking handlebarred mustache dude behind the bar wiping a glass as he kind of looks, gives a nod as you guys kind of walk in, and he just keeps on wiping the glass.
Good sir, do you have any milk?
None that ain't sour.
Damn it! Alright. I don't want to drink the water, guys.
Haven't been able to get much deliveries inside here since the quarantine. I mean, I got some grog, maybe some sour ale, maybe bits of mead left, but not much. If I can help you, let me know. Still a place of business.
Callus goes up and he's just like, give me a bottle of grog and what do you got to eat round here?
Let me get to my... Well, we got some grilled meat. We also got the last of our mutton stew. A bottle of grog would be about 2 copper.
I'll take the grog and give me a bowl of that mutton stew.
All right,
take some
easy
stew.
enough. The stew will be 6 copper. He goes to the back and he pulls out 2 trencher bowls with a thick wooden spoon in each. Dumps it in.
I'm in to help David because when I picked up the money, I did add to my character sheet just to keep track of it. I know you were keeping track of it too.
The soup itself, or the stew, is extremely sort of salty, and you can imagine that maybe they use some sort of preserved dried meat.
As he puts the bowl in front of me, I go, You got some bread to go with this stew? That sounds delicious.
Let me look in the back, and then he does come out with what seems to be a stale kind of loaf of bread.
Oh, don't eat the bread.
I'm just like, thanks very much. And then I eat the stew, and then I eat the grog, and then I just take the bread and I don't eat the.
Oh, I was getting ready to slap it out of your hands.
No,
What do you
no.
do-
See,
what do you
we
do?
now I subtly gained a sample so we can test to make sure that they're not poisoning the rest of the city.
Can you say that again, Jeremy? What are you planning with the?
Basically, I asked for the bread, then I eat the stew, and then I drink my grog. But I don't touch the bread, and I walk out with it so we can have it tested to see if it's also poisoned.
Okay. You guys are going all CSI on me. We don't get much of them half-orcs over here. They mostly keep to themselves in the southeast quarter. Most of the people here around Old Market tend to be, well, human.
Hmm.
They like to stick together. It's a very clan-like mentality with them. Very tribal.
That seems really racist. All right, thanks for all the information, and I'm gonna walk out.
He's like, sorry if I offended you. Okay, so Oriana and Callus had a bowl of salty mutton stew.
Yeah.
Callus, I assume you just downed that bottle of sour grog.
And then I just like this, give this big belch, just like.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the best. Like, it's the alcohol has started to turn to vinegar, and like the poor guy's trying to run a business, but without like fresh supplies, like you can't do much.
It went stale, then it started getting strong again.
Okay, so we'll say as you guys make it all the way back down to Sunward Road, it's probably 11:30. After sort of stopping and eating, looking about, asking questions, you guys make it back out to the front gate. The gate is locked. However, you do see that window peeks out. The front door's open, and the familiar form of a cloaked woman comes out to the gate and just begins to unlock it without question and kind of lets you guys back in.
Honey, we're home.
Eventful day. You all
You
look
wouldn't
like
believe.
You all look like you've had a run of it, especially you. Points to you, Talandra. She just said, you all look like you've had the run of it, especially you. She kind of looks to you and kind of looks you over as you're sort of like covered and caked with like wet dirt and dust, and there's still like wood in your hair. Come on, the fire's going. We can dry your clothes. The food's still hot. And she locks the door, or locks the gate as you guys come in. You guys follow her in through the door. Back inside the very clean interior of the Sunward Road Children's Home. Those of you that are hungry get a very nice, warm, delicious bowl of beef stew and vegetables.
Callus is like, woo, seconds.
Is it possible, my lady, for one to receive a bath in this place, or is that something that you don't do up here in the north? I've heard that northern women bathe but once a month, but if possible, I would like to take one tonight.
Her eyes kind of get hard, and she looks at you almost as if like she invited you into her home with hospitality, and you kind of just threw an insult at her.
I imagine that because I have a high wisdom and a low charisma, my insight is probably better than my platitudes. Therefore, I would probably notice her reaction and say, "Oh, I apologize. I meant no offense. It's perhaps just the customs that I'm getting used to around here. You don't offend. Your smell, anyway."
And you can kind of see that she just kind of like, she just taps her lips. She's like, "Well, that's fine." She turns around. "I hear you Southerners do untoward things with goats." And she
Oh, good comeback.
She's like, "The baths are in the basement. I'll have Liza show you the way. Liza, tend to that one, please. I've had enough of his mouth."
I'm gonna turn to Toril and say, I think that's what they call digging yourself into a hole.
Yes, she's a very patient woman, putting up with the eccentricities of foreigners, and I bow like embarrassed, like and leave to follow.
What do you guys feel about giving Rose the jewelry box? I think she's beautiful. It's a beautiful jewelry box. Say thank you for all her help, free food, everything.
I think that's
Perhaps
fair
just
enough.
the earrings. We don't want to spoil her.
Even better, give her one earring at a time every time she helps us.
Like chocolate.
Yes.
Actually, then how about I just give her for now a rose amethyst, since her name is Rose, and it's a rose amethyst.
Okay, so Toril does go down to the baths, and they are very nice marbled baths. The water is warm underneath. You can see where there are stoves on the outside that flow through and kind of regulate the heat going in, and you do clean yourself up quite well. You guys are all given other clothes to wear, and the rest of your clothes are sort of hung and kind of cleaned at best by the women that help run the place, and hung in front of the fires to sort of dry. At dinner, she accepts your amethyst, and she's like, "This is wonderful. This will help us out immensely for supplies. I do thank you."
Well, thank you for the bath and the food and all the hospitality.
It's the least I could do for all the help you've done, the supplies you've brought. I'm glad Wayland has sent you. I have my ways, but I've had no need of it. Recently, we were quite well stocked. None of us have shown any sort of sickness here. Everything we do get is brought in from the outside. So. I can, as long as you tell me where he is. I'm sure I can find him.
Remember what?
At that inn we were at.
Oh, what was the name of that inn?
I'm waiting for somebody to say.
I don't remember.
I know the name of Gated Shop.
Cross Candles Inn.
There you
That's
go.
the tavern.
That's where the commander's staying.
Oh, so the inn and the tavern of the place?
It's called the Crossed Candles Inn.
If he's just in Copperkeep, I'll find him soon enough. What would you like me to tell him? Would you like this done by word of mouth, or would you like an ink and paper?
I think he'd probably for word of mouth, but it's your decision.
And you see she calls for one of the children. She's like, Charles, fetch some paper and ink, please. And you see after about a couple minutes, comes back with a sheaf of parchment, quill, and an inkwell, and sets it down in front of you.
So we're gonna write a summary of what happened basically with the plague and the cure and the old lady and the green mist and all that stuff.
Easy enough. You guys write down a summary of what's going on. We'll say it probably takes about 2 sheets of paper, depending on how large Talandris writes. And yeah, easy enough. Easy enough. It's written. You guys put the finishing sand on it so the ink doesn't blotch, fold it up, hand it to her, and she's like, I'll try to get this to him as soon as I can tomorrow, if that will suffice.
Mark, I asked her if she knows anybody that trades in jewels and gems.
We also have the wine bottles too that might be worth something. Wine does age well.
I do know some people, though let's just say the people here that used to deal in wealth are long gone. There are some more unscrupulous people that I can get you in touch with.
Yeah, we have we've come across this jewelry box, and I show it to her. In addition to a couple of other gems, and I'm particularly looking for some other types of gems that I will use in my rituals and wizardly castings. So if you could put me in touch with them, I would love to have a discussion.
Well, all you got to do is head to the old market. Inside the general store, the owner there, well, he deals in more than just sundries and goods.
What is
Just
his
tell
name?
him Rose. Just tell him Rose said to play fair.
Who is
He'll
this
get
again?
them. His name is Merton Hatchbeat, and he owns Hatchbeat Sundries in Old Market.
So that number 3 hatch sundry.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks. Thank you.
What was the owner's name again?
Merton Hatchbeat.
Merton Hatchbeat. Oh, it's written in chat.
That is all for today. I shall excuse myself and make sure the rest of the children have gotten into bed.
Have a good
Feel
evening,
free
my
to
lady.
stay up. Feel free to stay up as late as you wish. Your rooms are prepared for you.
Before I want to ask Talandra before he turns in for the night if he would like me to hold on to the blue Azurith earrings to get them appraised and possibly trade with Merton Hatchbeat, or if he plans on keeping those as part of his cut. So I will take them from him and add it to the pool.
Okay. That is definitely easy enough. So we'll say after a while, you guys all sort of eat your fill, kind of rest up, make it to your rooms, depending on how early you all want to wake up. Morning
I
comes.
forget, how's healing work for long
I have
rest?
to wake up pretty early, Mark, because I have to pray at dawn.
Okay. So you wake up and it's just your body clock is used to waking up at dawn. Though when you wake up and you open your windows, you notice that outside there's a thick fog that's kind of encompassing the seat, and everything again is just dark and gray, and you sort of wonder why you brought yourself to this forsaken land which seems to have no sunlight at all.
Well, we gave one of the rows MSS to her, so.
So I just posted the split, the take.
Yeah, I've got to compare notes because Jareth is spending money out of that take.
Yeah, and don't forget that 26 gold of that take has been spent.
Well, 1 gold was from my own take, actually, and 25 was spent for the ring.
25.
Well, it's split up, so now subtract it from what you have.
No, my 25 gold was for the group to divinate that ring, basically. That we found as a group.
You all sort of wake up in the morning. Toro, you guys notice, is dressed, clean, armor cleaned as best they can. As you can probably imagine that the women in this household that sort of run this place aren't really accustomed to cleaning armor and getting in there, and really don't want to get in there and like ruin it too much. But for the most part, it is clean. It is dry, which is the most important part. Then you see that Toro is already in the sort of breakfast area, eating his light breakfast for the day, as you all begin to sort of meander in, gather the food, and kind of talk about your plan of what you wish to do.
I think we should stop by that general store and then from there go back into the cul-de-sac and look for a sewer entrance.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that plan is good, but is there possibly an easier way to get into the quarantined area without having to alert the guards? I mean, we just did walk in and out through the front door yesterday, but maybe we don't want to do that on a daily basis.
We could look for a sewer entrance outside the quarantine area.
Yeah, and
That's
try to
what
head
I'm
in
wondering if we could do. I mean, I'm not a roguish person by nature, but I have found it valuable to get into places unseen from time to time.
A little voice kind of pips up as you guys are sort of speaking. He's like, if you want to move around without people seeing you, the rooftops are the best way.
We tried that already.
I cannot do rooftops.
They never
Actually, that's a
station-
great idea. I love that idea.
They never station the guards up there, and that's how we usually got around.
Who's saying this?
Just this little kid. And you can see that long, scraggly hair, kind of buck teeth, though wearing nice clothes. But you can imagine that a lot of these kids are street kids that have been kind of taken in and kind of given a place to live. But you can imagine that these kids have seen some shit, maybe done some shit. That they might have some street wisdom about this place that you guys don't.
I actually will approach the kid and say, in an opposite line of thinking, do you know of a place where we may actually exit into the sewers that would go into the inner quarantine area?
Well, a lot of the sewers aren't connected to the different districts inside, like Old Market's separate from the North Ward, just before the Upper Hearts. And I know that over where they have the inner quarantine, there's about 3 separate sewer tunnels that all drain down. We used to play a lot down there, just away from all the stealing adults, but after a while it just became infested with rats, and we just didn't want to deal with it. You could do the Grundles.
The Grundles?
I mean, it might be a tight squeeze, but it's ways to get in from building to building that goes under the roads, just under the surface.
That sounds promising.
A lot of the old smugglers used to use those, but some of the tunnels have collapsed.
Could you point us to one that will be leading us into the inner quarantine?
Now, wait a minute. What the problem with the rooftops? You guys are afraid that you're going to fall, but perhaps I could lead, and we could just go slower. I think Talandris's misfortune yesterday was because we were chasing after the cart.
Moving
if
fast in the rain.
Yes. If we take our time on the rooftops, I seriously doubt it will be as hazardous as it was yesterday.
But he also literally just said something that's used by smugglers under the ground.
Maybe one of these children could show us a path on the rooftops that they use that would be safer to take than what we tried to use haphazardly yesterday as well. So, option is okay, but whatever you guys decide. I like to stay in the sunlight for as long as possible is all I'm saying, but that's just my character.
Mark, having gone through the village and looked up, would I even be able to make it from rooftop to rooftop?
I think with the help of your company, you could.
Okay.
You're not like jumping these gaps. There are like makeshift catwalks, rope bridges, and stuff strung along the entire length of these. As you can probably imagine, that a lot of people use the rooftops, perhaps thinking that, hey, if I move this way, I'm not going to get mugged walking by an alley, kind of thing. So, or maybe a lot of more untoward people use it as a quick getaway.
Out of curiosity, Mark, I'm wondering if when we woke up this morning, we were at any power level above where we were when we went to bed the night before.
You secretly gain power.
Like, did I pray hard enough last night? I prayed.
Was the Silver Lady happy with me enough to bless me?
Through the investigation and the roleplay you guys did during that session, I'll say before you took the long rest, according to my notes, everything you guys covered is 60 experience points.
Oh,
I'm
of course.
like 5 short.
But that's not including is that including the roleplay bonus that you would hand out individually?
That is not. So if you want, you guys could be level 2 for next session. But I don't want to spend time doing that right now, as we only got a couple minutes left.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's fine.
I just curious.
I added the 60 right now, but I'll add the other one later.
How much do we get?
We get to finish our session and then add 60 XP.
Okay. Ooh.
I'll be second. That's cool.
That's kind of like what the rooftops you guys are looking at, although they are closer together. This kind of...
Okay, nice.
Everything's just like a mishmash of like wonky catwalks over the roads. There's strings, like just bridges, it's a mess up there, and you guys are kind of navigating that. Like there's planks covering holes in the walls. Like it's a slum, man. And the boy is. I just need to ask for permission. I can definitely show you where the Grundles are if that's what you wish.
Yeah, it might be a good idea to know where those are at.
Yeah, he wants to show us the underground passage. I mean, we can decide.
I'm okay with going either route. I just think that we were thinking that the rooftop route might be more dangerous than it really is.
Well, I'm just thinking for my character.
I just need to ask Lady Rose, and I'll be right back.
But considering we're dealing with a gang and he's talking about smuggling tunnels, I don't know, maybe knowing where the smuggling tunnels are might be good.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Especially if the sewers aren't fully connected, if they have tunnels going through that they can smuggle things in and out. It might be good to know those locations.
After a while, probably about 5 minutes, you see Rose walking in by herself. Her face again stern, her eyes quite hard, as she comes to address the table. I appreciate what you are trying to accomplish. I do appreciate the help, but I ask that you do not involve the children. Is that understood?
Out of curiosity, my lady Rose, at what age in your society here do you consider one still a child? For the one who spoke to us this morning was certainly an adult, right?
You could tell that that child was like 9 or 10.
Yeah, 10 is adult.
That's not how we do things in the North.
Ah, okay.
These children have suffered through poverty and had to do things that they should never have had to do in the first place. I provide this place to them as a haven of safety so they never have to experience that again. We don't exploit children in the North. I don't know what you do in the South. But that's
I don't understand this word exploit, but we give them adventure and outside time. We don't keep them cooped up in the house like prisoners.
Yes.
Before they're...
I'm sure in the South you let your children run rampant in plague quarters where they can get sick and die. That is quite wise of you, cleric. Does he speak for all of you? She says as she looks at all of you at the table.
No, I've already profusely apologized, though I did explain my situation.
Again, I apologize, and I would excuse myself from the conversation and go pray for forgiveness. Please, Pelor, I do not mean to offend this lady and make her hate me.
I think maybe we let them explore and have adventures is kind of the wrong thing to say at this very moment.
And thus you have touched on the whole aspect of my personality. I would like to say many, many wrong things throughout the course of this.
Absolutely perfect.
Using my experience on the streets, can I at least ask the child to describe it? Maybe I can figure out on my own where this will begin.
If you need to find them, I will take you. If that will suffice. Give me but a moment to get properly dressed.
May not be required for you to take if you can describe it to me. I'm used to the streets. I might be able to find it on my own.
You won't find it unless you know where it is.
Ah, it's a room of requirement.
Yeah.
If you have to ask, you will never know.
And since it's midnight, we'll just end it here for today and pick back up next week.
Awesome.
Oh, we're doing next week? Cool.
Yeah, this
Yeah, we
week
had a
is an off
back-to-back.
week because we were supposed to play last weekend, but it was Christmas. So this week is not our normal week.
Excellent. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
do you want to take off the evaluation of these gems, or do you want that role played out at some point?
We can roleplay it out. I mean, you guys are you guys are wanting to sell them now. She told you that the only other person that would sort of sell it is somebody that has unscrupulous dealings. So you're probably going to be interacting with someone who is a fence.
Yeah, and when I go to have this discussion, I would take, some muscle with me, just so the little 3-foot deep gnome would not seem to take advantage of. But also assuming that that they would know, that I deal in and am very knowledgeable of their forth. I mainly my point is mainly to try to trade, and silver jewelry box for some pearls or things that could be used for components, if that's a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, there's going to be some bartering involved, so there will be some rolls that will have to be made.
So yeah, we will. Would you happen to know the blood, what gold they would be valued at?
Say that again.
The 2 blood diamonds. Do you know what value you would have those in gold pieces? For example, one of the spells, you needed a diamond worth 50 gold pieces.
I know. Are you proficient in jewel crafting?
You know what's fun, David? Cast the spell using that diamond and see if Mark says it works or not.
That's how I did it with Vril. I go, I cast the spell. Does it work?
Yep,
Yep.
that's what I would do too, because it's not in game.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I don't necessarily have down that I'm proficient in any type of gem, but I mean, that's kind of what deep gnomes do, so I don't know how you want to handle.
I know, but your particular deep gnome, you said, is proficient in cartography tools.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And his background is a what was it?
Lore.
Yeah, a lore hunter. If you're proficient with jewel crafters tools, that tells me that you know how to work with jewels and also know how to properly appraise them, which would make you proficient in your intelligence check.
Okay.
But not being proficient means you don't get your proficiency bonus, and the DC is higher than if you would be proficient. So, I mean, you could roll like a 15 and be like, yeah, I got it. And I'd be like, yeah, you think it's worth that.
I like it. I like Ken's approach. Just cast the spell.
Perfect. Let it burn. Let it burn. Well, thanks, guys. That was a very odd session. You guys did, however, find a honey hole,
Odd.
which was pretty great. It was a pretty odd session, I think, in my book. But I enjoyed it, like, thoroughly.
Yeah, it was fun.
Talar
Sorry, it
just
was
fell
late,
through
though,
a
guys.
roof. I mean, really, this is... Yeah. They just heard a crash.
Oh, yeah, did you guys tell
You're
the group
welcome.
about the
Well, they
fall?
saw the results of all the dirt and scraps of wood on your clothes or whatnot. I don't know. But right, I could have kept that a secret.
No, they would have saw like the bits of wood in your hair earlier, because when you fell and got out of there and covered with like dust and it was like on your face, like they would have saw something happened, but they didn't know. And you guys were so painfully close. So painfully close.
Oh.
And it didn't work out that way. And it was kind of amazing. But yeah, I mean, you guys are definitely on the right track. I'll say. But yeah, thank you guys. And I will see you all next Saturday.
Thank you. It was a great time.
Good night, everybody.
No
And Happy New
Tuesday.
Year.
No Tuesday session due to New Year's. So that'll be next week for Ken and Doug. And then I'll see everybody next Saturday, and we'll see if we can get our hands dirty.
Sounds great.
Sounds good. And then I'll make sure.
Do we roll or do we do the other rule or whatever?
Oh well, you're long resting, so.
I mean,
You
for
don't
new hit
need to roll.
dice, when you do new hit dice, how do you, if you level?
Oh yeah, you roll, and then if you roll under the average, just take the average.
Oh, great, thank you.
So it always sucks when you're like, oh, I rolled a 1 for my health, and then you're like a fighter at level 5 and you have like 35 health.
Yeah, I enjoy that. Yeah, as a paladin, yeah.
So, but yeah, thanks everybody. I'll talk to you all later.
You get one for hit points or
Night.
heal?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
What do you guys
Happy
rolling
New
for?
Year, everybody.